Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Out's here, and it's Sunday, and we're doing a Sunday special report before the season starts. And I'm going to go over the Eastern Conference and kind of see how I see the hierarchy of the 15 teams in the NBA's Eastern Conference this year. And in some ways, my predictions are not going to be probably normal for most people. Like, as far as you see ESPNs, you've seen Bleacher Reports, you've seen the Athletics, you've seen all these different ones come out already. But, I'm trying to look at it fairly unbiased, but of course I'm biased to the Raptors. And, I'm taking out the bullshit that may prop up some of the teams in the Eastern Conference that is not totally deserved for those teams. Like the thing that I may really be annoyed the most about how they're prognosticating the Eastern Conference is, I get it. If you want to put teams that have been established with winning above us in the Eastern Conference, like New York and Cleveland, but I don't get how you cannot give us the same fair shake as these other teams that you've already anointed to be good this year that haven't proved jack shit. And that has to do with Atlanta, Orlando, and in Detroit. It pisses me off because honestly, in some ways, our paper, the way we look on paper with our roster is better than those teams. And even though they got these deals, they got their major players coming in the offseason, Desmond Bain, Kristaps Porzingis, Duncan Robinson. They totally overlook the Brandon Ingram addition to the Raptors and how that moves us up in the standings. So in some ways, I got to give us the credit that they don't give us. And I got to give less credit to the teams that they're already fluffing up. That I honestly, and somebody said this on Reddit the other day. I saw it in a post. I said, why? Tell me why everybody just automatically thinks that Toronto is worse than Orlando, Atlanta, and Detroit. Like where does that come from? And how's the proof? And how the hell you just talk out your ass and just say that is what I'm saying, So yeah, I'm going to go over the 15 and it may shock some people how I figured mine out. I worked on it yesterday for about an hour. I really put a lot of deep thought into the slots. Some of it's flexible. Some of it is able to be moved around a little bit. There's I don't go over it when I go over it, as far as what I think that this and this could be this and stuff like that. So, all right, let's see. We'll start with Trevor J's words of wisdom real quick, and then we'll probably do my 15 really fast at the top of this stream. So Trevor J saying, no one has the right to judge you because no one really knows what you have been through. They may have heard the story, but they didn't feel what you felt in your heart. The people that are in the public figures may have things happen to them very publicly in front of everybody, but there's probably a whole part of the story that we don't hear. And then sometimes their actions may look really crazy, but just like what Trevor's saying, we don't know how their heart felt. We don't know why they may have done something so crazy or something just not in their character. So this is the thing. They say, you can't judge people for what they do because you don't know how they walk in their shoes. And in some ways, that's something that we have to all realize. It's like everybody's life path is different, and everybody has different things and obstacles and gifts and different things that happen to them that, make things add up to a certain way. And some people's decision making and what they do is partly informed by trauma. It's partly informed by their experience before, where they've gone through things before and they know how it goes and they just want to make a better outcome this time. So I appreciate the words of wisdom from Trevor J on this one right here. And it's real easy to judge, but do you want people judging you back on what you're doing? In some ways, it's like, it's real easy to judge. But what they say about glass houses, that's right. That's right. Trevor J saying this, Precious got waved from the Heat. Yeah, I apologize for yesterday, guys. It seems that as soon as the Raptors signed AJ Lawson to a two-way contract, my stream just kind of went like 2 hours in. Maybe they was just designating, all right, Raptor Street, you got 2 hours, you're done. We will do 2 classic cards today because we didn't get to it yesterday. And everything we were going to talk about, I apologize to all the people who made comments in the stream that I didn't get to by the time YouTube cut me off. But yeah, this was something you guys were telling me yesterday. And the other news about AJ Lawson circling back and getting the two-way spot, fantastic stuff. We knew that was going to happen to an extent because Blake Murphy had told us that it would happen. And well, it actually did come through in fruition, and it's a fantastic thing. So we got our two-way spots filled for the Raptors, and there is one more roster spot still open. It's flexible. We did waive Juju Reese at the end of the game on Friday night, and that is the spot that is open. That one right there. AJ Lawson just coming in and taking the two-way spot that Ulrich Shamshay was on. So just to get some housekeeping and understanding the transactions just in the last 2 days. If there's any more questions about the Raptors and their cuts and their signing of AJ Lawson to the two-way yesterday, just let me know. Let me know. Yeah, Precious getting waived from the Heat. You know, in some ways, I'm not surprised by this because this is the thing. When you get added to a training camp roster late, that usually means you're one of the people scrapping to make that last spot. And well, if Precious, this is what I'm going to think. All right, let's talk about Precious Achiuwa. Let's talk about his career. Let's talk about where it went and where he did and how it's gone. Precious was a rookie with the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra. His first year in the league, he had a home year. He was very raw. He was very athletic. He could do a lot of very interesting things, but it was unbridled. It was a little bit uncontrollable. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of raw potential. Now, in some ways, it was interesting that the Miami Heat would trade Achiuwa for Kyle Lowry and put him in that deal coming this way with Goran Dragic. That's how we acquired Achiuwa here in Toronto. We had him here for about 2 or 3 years, right? It was something like that. I want to say it was about 3 years, right? And while he was here, mixed results. Once again, very raw talent, very much a lot of potential, but something just not getting right. Something just not getting right and not going totally in the right direction with him. We trade him with OG for RJ and Emmanuel, and he goes to the Knicks. And in some ways, the Knicks was a place where Precious really should have probably took off and made it to the next level, but he didn't even then. Even with a coach that was really kind of his style, Tom Thibodeau, and Nick was his style too before him. Let's not get it twisted. He's another person that was kind of his style. So I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if Precious has the Rosen code because I think he doesn't. I think that this is the problem. I think that he's frustrating to teams because they see all the gifts and the possibilities, but he's not working towards it in the correct way. It could very well be he has San Diego State problems. Yeah, you know what I mean with that. I mean, that would make sense if, him and Malachi were coming in at the same time for the Raptors and totally destroying our bench like minutes with ineptitude. Let's just put it that way. We all remember this, Raptors fans. We remember this. I always gave Precious a pass over Malachi in these situations because he had promise and possibility down the road. But I guess the road is ended for him to a degree that you can only coast on your physical gifts for so long. If you're not mentally engaged in the game and you're not changing your game and get progressing, using DeRozan code to work hard, well, you see the door, Achiuwa. And I think that's what this is here, guys. I think that Precious in some ways just didn't grasp mentally the whole thing about being in the NBA and what it takes. And, these things go through your fingers. The team that drafted you, put a whole bunch of resources in you now, has turned around and said, yeah, you're not going to make this roster, Precious. Sorry, bro. So, yeah, it's a tough thing, man. It's a tough thing. And I feel bad for Precious. We'll just have to see what the next move is for him. That man showing up in G League at this point ain't right. So it does seem like, if he's not going to play in the NBA, he's going to wait around and see if anybody adds him this season. Or is he going to get it overseas and start doing something else somewhere else? It'd be very intriguing if Precious went and played in Basketball Africa League. Very, very intriguing if he jumped over to Africa and started playing over there real quick. Just to, he would bring more high profile to that league, and he'd probably be like the MVP, possibly. Who knows? I don't know what his talent would stack over there. What is the next thing in your route? Are you going to go to Australia, Precious? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe he'll go play with Malachi somewhere else. That's right. Seth Curry got waived from the Golden State Warriors also in the last couple of days. The brother of Steph Curry, Seth Curry, waived. And this is the thing. They're saying that he's going to be circled back to. They're cutting him now for roster management and financial considerations, and that Seth Curry is going to be added back to the roster in like the next month or so still. So this isn't like saying hasta la vista, the Curry brothers playing together this year. It's just that they're not going to have them right together at the beginning. And as they change things, and maybe that he comes in when the G League season starts and they shift some players over to their G League team. And then Seth Curry shows back up with his brother Steph on the Golden State Warriors. So that's what I'm hearing, that he's not out. He's just on delay. That's right. James is here. He's saying, Lex, would it be good idea to get Precious back to play the backup five in case of emergencies here in Toronto? I don't know if it's necessary. I think, once again, I would tell this to Raptors fans over and over again. Unless there's, you've gone to San Antonio and played for 5 years under Popovich and you've learned a lot of bag of tricks, it's not worth it to go down the same road that you've already been. And that's the thing, quite often revisiting players and bringing them back can feel good and nice, especially if it's a fan favorite, somebody that you're like, oh man, now this guy's back on our team. This is awesome. Like Jakob Poeltl. But I don't know if Precious has made the strides or the gains to waste bringing him back in here. I think the idea, what you're saying, makes sense, but why would we need Precious if we've got Jonathan already? In some ways, I would say that. James is saying the top 4 teams in the East for me in no order. All right, this is James's top 4 for the East are the Sixers, the Cavs, the Knicks, and the Hawks. That's an interesting one. James is saying, do we have a chance to be top 4 in this year? All right, let me get into it right now. I do believe, all right, I'll start right at the top. I do believe the best team in the East right now is the Knicks. The Knicks should be the number 1 team at the end of the year. That's right, Milbester. I'm not going to dump on New York totally. I feel like in some ways New York did such a good job with their season under Thibodeau that they may do very well with Mike Brown, but I don't think they'll get the same amount of wins, but they could be the number 1 team in the East. I think in some ways I put them over Cleveland because Cleveland's not going to be as good as last year for sure. New York could be about the same as they were last year. So that's kind of where I'm predicting them there. The big problems with them is their coach going to get taken to? And will the weird stuff on the underlying surface of the things behind the scenes with the Knicks team, will that stuff get toxic more and more over the season? Whether it's Rick Brunson, whether it's Cat, whether it's any kind of the bullshit that's going on there. Will Mike Brown really be a suitable coach for them in the situation with the fans, the city, the reporters, and the scrutiny? And if he fails in different times this season, will it all come crashing down because it's just a toxic mess? The chances of all that happening are very high in some ways, but I don't think they'll happen during the regular season. I think that all that stuff will happen when they get to the playoffs. That they'll do fairly well during the regular season, but in the playoffs, they will absolutely fail there. And that'll be the joke for the Knicks Nation this year. Is once again, you'll have a season similar to last year where you're a really good team. You're up near the top of the standings and you get to the playoffs and you fail. I'm totally predicting that for New York's destiny this year. Now, if they don't get to the top of the Eastern Conference, be around 1 or 2, it's because they have had the toxic dumpster fire on the down low behind the scenes with the Knicks. And that could very well derail itself. Mike Brown is a huge determinant of what the Knickerbockers do this year. Huge determinant. Now, Cleveland, I've got them in second. And the reason why I think Cleveland is second and not first this year, Cleveland fans, is because I feel like y'all lost too many key players this summer. Ty Jerome, the main one. Seriously. In some ways, what made y'all such a good winning team last year is guys like Ty Jerome on your team. And, there's a couple other guys. And I don't think you upgraded with getting Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is a kind of like a booby prize. You're going to put Lonzo Ball on your team, you're destined to fail. So I really feel like because the Cavs had such a high win total last year, that they're destined to get less than those for sure. They're not going to win as many games as they did last year. And they'll be battling with New York for the top spot in the East still. But both those teams won't be as high up with their wins this coming year. They both got like 50 to 60 wins, right? I think the Cavs got 60 wins last year. And the Knicks got like 50 something wins. Neither one of those teams will get that high this time. They'll be closer to 50 even. They'll be closer to 50 even this year. The third team I'm putting in the top 4 is Toronto, James. So your question asking me, do you think Toronto can be top 3, top 4? Yeah, I think they can be top 3. I think that the Raptors, as long as they're healthy, they're going to be a top 3 Eastern Conference team in this league this year. And the part of it is that, I really do feel like some of the teams in the Atlantic Division are going to be really not trying to win this year. We saw the Nets on Friday, and they're bad. And I really do think that the Raptors have a good chance to sweep the Sixers and the Celtics and the Nets this year. And in some ways, when you're able to win in the Atlantic Division as the Raptors, you're near the top of the Eastern Conference. Now, the Raptors could win 49 games, which is what I predicted on To The Point with King this week. And they would be in the third spot in the Eastern Conference. Seriously, because it could be a little bit more evened out in the middle. Last year, there was a very high mark with Cleveland being in the 60s. And then there was like really bad teams like Washington and Charlotte and stuff. I think it's going to get a little bit more middled because the Eastern Conference is a lot more closer to each other. All the teams are closer to each other. There's not these teams last year, Cleveland and New York, they got a little bit in the stratosphere. That's not going to happen this year. They're going to have problems, and everybody's going to be a little bit more close to the middle. It'll make a more competitive Eastern Conference, and the Raptors will slot in at third because they got 49 wins, and nobody else will get more than that other than Cleveland and New York, and they'll get somewhere in the 50 to 55 range. So it's interesting. I really do think the Toronto Raptors will be the third best Eastern Conference team in the league this year. There's no reason to think that teams like Orlando, Detroit, and Atlanta are just automatically better than the Raptors, other than ESPN is telling us that. Seriously, there's no reason to believe this shit. Seriously. And I'll go over each one. The other home court advantage team in the playoffs, I think, will be Orlando. I'm going to give some credit to Orlando. In some ways, they've done very well in the preseason. And, they do seem like they've improved their team this offseason. Desmond Bane is a big acquisition. But, I'm saying they're going to be fourth. But I do think that they'll be below us. They may be totally overhyped, though, this season. I mean, the way that they went goo goo gaga over Desmond Bane coming to the Magic, I was like, you guys are overreacting to this. Like, whoa, this is so great. In some ways, y'all should have been giving that energy to Brandon Ingram on the Toronto Raptors more than Desmond Bane on the Orlando Magic. I mean, come on. Listen to what I just said. Who the fuck do you think is a bigger needle pusher as far as bringing a team up from where they were last year? Brandon Ingram or Desmond Bane? Hello? Brandon Ingram is an all-star top-level player. Desmond Bane's a role player. So I never ever got why everybody just automatically thinks Orlando is going to be better than the Raptors this year, because there's no proof to this. And last year when we played them, we kicked their ass. So don't give me this shit. So my top 4 home court advantage playoff teams are New York, Cleveland, Toronto, and Orlando. Yeah. My 2 teams that will make the playoffs and just be above the play-in. And this is all flexible in some ways. Of course, we can flip things around a little bit. Instead of Orlando in the top 4, it could be Atlanta or Detroit in the top 4. But those are my 2 picks for playoff spots after that. And so it is this glut of teams that made moves, and they're kind of seeming like they're coming up. And I think the Atlanta Hawks have some interesting additions, Nickel, Luke Kennard. But I don't know. Once again, I'll say this. When you have Porzingis on your team, you're destined to lose, because Porzingis is a big dummy. And that winning that championship with the Celtics was despite him. He's fool's gold. Porzingis, in most places he's been to, New York, Dallas, Washington, he's been a bust. He's added to losing, not to winning. And that's why I would tell and caution Atlanta Hawks fans, don't think that you're going somewhere real far because of Porzingis. In fact, your additions around Porzingis are probably more important to helping you guys get better. Nickel, Luke Kennard, shit like that. Now, it's an interesting position that they're in this year. Is Trae Young is kind of like this is as Matt Devlin put it on the broadcast the other day. The Hawks are in the last year of trying to figure out whether Trae Young's going to be the person they want to work with. Because if it doesn't go well, they may just say cut ties with Trae Young and say you're not going to be our franchise player anymore. So this could be a very weird year. I think that there's a natural synergy between Trae Young and Kristaps, possibly, that could be very good, but there's no guarantees they will have that synergy. And that's the thing. If things don't go exactly right this year, and Atlanta's just as much of a failure as they usually are, then you might see Trae Young leaving the Hawks, and that might be good for the Hawks. Seriously, that might be good for the Hawks. So Detroit, I got to give them credit. They got some up and coming guys with Cade Cunningham and those guys. They're dangerous, but just like the broadcaster said on the game on Friday night, they think they might have gotten rid of too many veterans. When they said that talking point, I kind of was like, whoa, maybe they are listening to me, because I've said that talking point at least 3 or 4 times this summer. That when I saw the veteran drain from the Detroit Pistons roster from last year, where Tobias Harris is the only vet left, that Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., all these guys that were actually really part of why they got in the playoffs last year are not there anymore. Will that have a big difference with the lack of veteran leadership that they had last year, the know-how that got them into the playoffs and actually did pretty well in the playoffs, considering where they were? I don't know. They're already saying Jaden Ivey's hurt again. And that's not a good sign that this guy, Jaden Ivey, continues to be hurt over and over again. So we'll have to see. I mean, Toronto, Orlando, Atlanta, and Detroit all are kind of in the same areas. So, James, I would say if the Raptors are in the top 6, we need to play excellent and play really well so we can get a home court advantage. And that's why I say top 4. And if they really do things right, top 3. Really do things right. So, yeah, I don't totally believe that Orlando, Atlanta, or Detroit are a sure bet this year. Just like they don't believe we're a sure bet either. So that's fair. That's fair. Now, it's possible if Detroit's youth movement does have a setback year from last year and they take a step back, they could be a play-in team, and one of the next couple teams could jump into a full playoff spot. But you know what? I think the way I got it is got it. But in some ways, I'm like, man, maybe Detroit is a play-in team and not a full playoff team. My play-in teams, top 2 play-in teams. First of all, I'm giving Miami more credit. I was thinking about it more. I'm like, all right, Miami had a pretty good preseason. Actually, no, they didn't. They lost all of them. Never mind. They didn't have a good preseason, but they've added Norman. And there's some good vibes kind of, I feel, from Miami Heat area right now, even though their team's a little weird right now. Tyler Hero's going to be hurt for the beginning of the season. And also the Miami Heat have a really tough schedule to start the season. They have a really, really tough schedule to start the season. And, I could see them stumbling out of the blocks to get the season started and maybe having to play catch up on their record for most of the year to try and get to the top, but they'll play pretty well later in the season. But I think they'll still end up in the play-in somewhere. So that's kind of the way I see Miami right now. I've got them at the top play-in spot and possibly in one of the playoff spots, but we'll just have to see. Norman's a good addition. He really is. Indiana is my other top play-in team, and they could actually flip into it too. I don't want to underestimate Siakam. Even without Halliburton, there's certain things about that team that got them to the finals without Halliburton, so they should be able to do certain things. But I don't like their situation with center. I don't think Huff is a replacement for Miles Turner, and I think that they may be in trouble at that position and that they need to kind of maybe make moves still this year to kind of solidify the center for them. So I don't totally like the Pacers to be strong this year, although the pedigree of getting to the finals last year and doing it with Halliburton hurt on and off does kind of tell me they may still be pretty good. Now, just like Miami, they could flip into a real playoff spot out of the play-in, but I think it's likely they'll be a play-in team. Now, they could even be out of the playoffs completely because it's absolutely a dismal year for the Pacers. And that would be crazy, going from NBA Finals to out of the playoffs. Now, my 9th and 10th seeds for the play-in are Chicago and Milwaukee. I say this and preface this that both those teams could be out of the playoffs easily. I don't think they're likely to get playoff spots. So that's like the opposite as Miami and Indiana. I say they're a play-in or a playoff team. Well, Chicago and Milwaukee are possibly a play-in team, but maybe not in the playoffs. Now with Chicago, it doesn't really seem like they've made a lot of moves or changes, and it's tough to say what's going to go on with them. But Josh Giddey is still there, and they do have youth that have been improving, Kobe White and different people like that. I just feel like they're so kind of ho hum and ordinary and boring that I mean, maybe this is their year where they get some of the breaks to go their way instead this year for Chicago. I don't know, but a play-in spot, maybe the best they can think about getting. If not, they may fall out of the playoffs altogether. Milwaukee. Now, I put Milwaukee at 10th because, they still have Giannis. And that is the only thing that is great about the Milwaukee Bucks. There's nothing else that's great about that team. And they should, is Giannis going to be enough to carry them just to get to a play-in spot? They're not going to get in the playoffs. Everybody who thinks Milwaukee isn't a playoff team, you're crazy. They have Kyle Kuzma and a bunch of glorified streak shooters, and they don't have Brook Lopez anymore to hold up the defense for them like they used to. So their defense is going to be shit. And Giannis is going to be complaining and upset, and it's going to be toxic. And it's going to be a really bad year for the Bucks. In fact, this is going to be maybe one of the last years that Giannis is on their team. If not, he gets traded in the middle of the season because things go so bad. The Milwaukee Bucks GM has done such a bad job running that team into the ground since their championship. And I fully expect a very rocky, sad season for Milwaukee Bucks fans that it's going to be really bad, guys. Now, I only put them at 10th purely because of Antetokounmpo, because he's that good that man, one-man show could absolutely put them in the play-in. But I do not think they have a chance for the playoffs as a playoff spot. They have to get in the play-in to get in the playoffs this year. And there is a chance that they bust out and they are one of the bottom 5 teams that don't even make the play-in also. So you guys would say, well, fuck, Lex, you haven't even said Boston or Philadelphia yet, have you? And I just went through all the way to the play-in. Yeah, because it's like that this year. Seriously. The one thing we know with Philadelphia, which is my 11th team in the Eastern Conference, is that their success is completely contingent on health. And, well, Joel Embiid has been playing apparently in preseason a little bit. He made an appearance in a game and played recently. How long is that house of cards going to stand before it blows over is what I'm asking 76ers Nation. Are y'all fooling yourselves with thinking that you might be a good team this year because you are totally contingent on your guys being available? You got Paul George you have to rely on. You got Joel Embiid you have to rely on. Yeah. And not only that, Philadelphia was really bad last year. And they didn't do well, and they were in the bottom of the league, and they tanked out, and they tried to get a high pick, and they got VJ Edgecombe. Well, this is the thing. In some ways, they have a worse team on paper than they did last year. Seriously. There's people like, yeah, Buscelli's gone. There's just they've changed their team, and it's not improved. So if they're just as hurt and they have worse team, well, what do you expect is going to happen with Philadelphia? I would say if they're healthy, I would say they could be a playoff team. But that's only if they're healthy for a good chunk of the year. And that means that Embiid's played like 50 to 60 games. But I don't trust that at all. In fact, there's no evidence of a healthy period of Joel Embiid in like the last 2 or 3 years. Every single year he's gotten hurt and been in and out of the lineup, and you cannot count on him. So in some ways, I would say, how do you even think you have a chance for the championship? Because your center cannot stay on the court. You think he can play a whole playoff season? No, he's not strong enough. He's a brittle man. And in some ways, I wonder how much cartilage is left in his knee at this point and when he's going to have to hang it up. Everybody who thinks Joel Embiid has a return to eminence and prominence and maybe another MVP, you're kidding yourself. This man may be closer to retirement than more accolades is what I'm saying right now. That's just the harsh reality. They can push him and use him as a star while they can, even though he's on the shelf. But we can see the truth. That man's knee is hanging on by a thread. And anything that happens with the Sixers is very contingent on Big Dummy. That's right. That's right. Boston, I've got right below Philadelphia. And really, this is a strategic thing. I'm not saying that Boston couldn't be a play-in team. It depends on what they want to do. It really does. I could see them being dishonorable and tanking this year, guys. I really can. Their personnel is so bad. The Celtics have the worst drop off in talent from last year to this year. And in some ways, the Celtics got beat by the Knicks and put out, and they weren't one of the best Eastern Conference teams last year. Maybe record wise in the regular season, but in the end, in the playoffs, they weren't. And well, they've had a talent drain. And I tell you, after watching us play the Celtics twice this preseason, their team is bad. I'm telling you right now, everybody who just anoints the Celtics in a certain place in the Eastern Conference standings because of their brand, because of their reputation, because of their history, you got to stop kidding yourself. It's just like you detriment us just because it's the Canadian team, it's the Raptors. They're always going to be down there. Well, that bias isn't fair to us. And in some ways, the bias of putting the Celtics up there isn't fair either. Because if you really look between the lines, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Jason Tatum's not going to probably play this year. In some ways, Celtics fans, a lot of them are okay with what I'm talking about right now. Because if they take a down year and they get a high draft pick, they could get a very good quality player next year's draft. And I think that's the assignment, y'all. Now, this is the thing. Are they going to really be degenerates and try and tank right on out to the bottom of the Eastern Conference as much as possible? They could. Seriously. If they start really bad and they don't have a good record, they may start actually trying to lose more and more. Now, it'll go totally against Joe Mazzulla and what he's trying to do and his attitude and his persona. And it may be very hard for him to do a tanking year. But it does look more and more like Boston needs to do that. And they've already set it up to do that with their GMing this summer. So don't get mad at me, Celtics fans. I'm just reading what y'all are doing there. And this is the damn truth. Y'all can be crazy and think, oh, we're going to be good anyway. We don't need all those guys. We're the Celtics. Okay. We'll see how that tests this season. But I'm saying you guys will probably be on the outside looking in at the playoffs this year. And if you guys are, what, you're going to do the whole thing where everybody's gaslighting us? It's like, oh, we need to tank. No, we need to win. Oh, you're going to fight with each other in your nation like that, like the Raptors did a couple years ago, where it's like, oh, no, some people want to tank so bad. Why? What's the point of getting the play-in? Playing for what? Yeah, Celtics fans are going to be thinking that in a strategy way. They'll be like, why the fuck are we trying to make the play-in? We just lose so we could get a higher draft pick. This shit is going to be going on with Celtics Nation this year. We know this because we went through this kind of shit a couple years ago with some of the fan nation saying, no, why are we winning? We need to lose. Shit, they did this last year. Why are we winning? Why are we winning? This shit will happen. And in some ways, the Celtics could drop into the bottom three in the Eastern Conference easily, especially if Washington jumps up. Washington's young talent is slotted at number 13 for me in the Eastern Conference. And I feel like if Washington overachieves and their young talent does start to click more, they could be a hub above the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference standings. And that may be totally by design, by what Brad Stevens wants. So I would say that the bottom two teams, of course, Charlotte could even jump above the Celtics if they really want to dip down and really manipulate their team to be losing. I don't know. Adam Silver might be watching them by then if they're trying to get below Charlotte Hornets. Like, oh, the Celtics are trying to get down below, limbo lower now, Celtics. Oh, Adam Silver's seeing what you're doing. Boston, are you losing on purpose? What's going on here? You know, Brooklyn is the worst team in the Eastern Conference. I've seen them on Friday. I know this is true. And yeah, I'm firm on this one. I think that by the end of the year, the Brooklyn Nets, no matter what, take this bet. If you don't want to take a bet on the NBA champion, take a bet on the worst team in the league being the Nets, 30th worst team out of all the teams in the league. The worst team in the league. I'll bet you that. Bet you that right now. So yeah, there's my 15, y'all. My home court advantage top teams in the Eastern Conference are New York, Cleveland, Toronto, and Orlando. My other two playoff teams are Atlanta and Detroit. My play-in teams are Miami, Indiana, Chicago, and Milwaukee. And then the out of the playoffs teams are Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. And there's some flexibility. As I said, maybe Boston and Philadelphia fuck around and they're in the play-in instead of sitting out and you know, they're in Chicago and Milwaukee on the outside here. You know, I could see, but when I was really thinking, Toronto could be third. Toronto could be third. And hell, if they go even higher, that'd be amazing. I don't know. There's my 15. What do y'all think about it? I love some feedback. I want to see here. Maybe there's something that you can point out to me that maybe this is different though. Lex, think about this. I'd love to hear it. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, James, right there, man. I think we could. Or I predicted us for third in the East. And some people are saying, "Wow, that's really bold, Lex." Well, I'm just saying. Once again, I'll give respect to the two teams that were at the top of the Eastern Conference last year because I feel like they could do this for not as good as they did last year, but they will still be up there. And I am not willing to say that Atlanta, Orlando, and Detroit are better than the Toronto Raptors until I see it on the court. If I see them on the court against us and I'm like, man, they're better than us, then I'll say it then. But right now, I don't see it because on paper, the Raptors are better than those teams. Yep, we are. We are. That's right. That's right. All right, let's keep going. James is, it's nameless. I am nameless. Love you, Raptor Freak. You're the man, bro. Thanks, man. Thanks, Paisano. And once again, I saw that you were in the chat yesterday. And I apologize that I didn't get your comments because YouTube cut me off. That's right. They cut me off. Kaz is here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Happy Sunday morning to you. Nameless is saying, don't judge, everyone. Remember, you are all things in your truest form. Wow, that's crazy. Boom. Head explosion. Yeah, you know what? When we hurt humanity and each other, we hurt ourselves. Really, that's what it is. If we really want to get deep on this, what's in a cell? Mitochondria, amoebas, all kinds of stuff, and some sort of jelly, right? In the cell, there's actually organisms in the cell. Well, let's think about the earth. Maybe we're just organisms in the cell of the earth. And maybe we're all very connected. And that when we hurt each other, we're actually hurting ourselves because we're actually part of the same body. Whoa. Whoa, dude. All right, let's see. Plumber's saying, your senses greatly deceive you about the true nature of reality. Yeah, we have tendencies and we have proclivities and we have prejudices and we have prisms and that we see through from our own experience. And in some ways, our experience and existence is something deep on a deep level. And in some ways, we want to make sense of it. So people try to put meaning on things in ways that aren't necessarily anything to do with meaning in this actual world. They just construct it. And that's the big thing right there. It's like, it's a weird thing, man. The mind, the brain. It very much is a weird thing, man. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Name is saying you can see, touch, smell, but what if I told you the world was not physical at all? See, this is getting deep, man. In some ways, he's going nirvana meditation kind of shit right here, where it's just like, all right, this is the thing that Eckhart Tolle talks about all the time with his New Age philosophies out of BC, British Columbia. That's right, Canadian based philosopher. Is that if you can get to the place with your breath where you cease to exist physically and you get in touch with your spirit energy, that's just like the energy, your consciousness. That's what he's talking about. It's like you just kind of, it's like when people are meditating or they're going and all that stuff. What they're trying to do is they're trying to clear their thoughts of everything and go blank. And then, you get some glimpses at the actual level of consciousness that like basic consciousness is. And you realize that your consciousness is something separate from your physical body, like the organic part of your body, your skin, your bones and stuff like that. There's something inside you that thinks there's a consciousness. And there's stuff to it that we have no idea about still. That's why psychic stuff happens. That's why, there's, I believe in paranormal activity, stuff like that is that there's an energy that has to do with consciousness that is separate from the physical activity or the physical world, our physical bodies and everything around us. And in some ways, there is a way to tune everybody to the same consciousness. And hopefully we can get there closer in some ways just to kind of help save the world. Although yesterday was really a beautiful sight to see so many people hit the streets all around the world, not just in the United States. There were people here in Canada going out for the No Kings protest. And I think that was pretty overwhelmingly popular. I think that the final counts I'm hearing, there were like almost 8 million people protesting Donald Trump and the No Kings Day yesterday. and it was a beautiful thing. And they barely was any arrests. The arrests that happened yesterday were MAGA agitators coming in and messing with the protesters, not the protesters causing trouble. There was MAGA people that maybe came and tried to do violence. We've seen MAGA people try and run people over with cars that are protesting in the past. Well, that's what I heard is most of the arrests were just MAGA people, anti-protest people. And, there was one story I heard where a kid in Texas threw an egg at one of the officers. He was 15 and they arrested him. But for the most part, everybody did a really good job. And this is even with Trump shooting live ammunition from a huge artillery cannon over a freeway in San Diego in California yesterday over people. Does this sound like a sane leader that in some ways he's worried about such a huge crowd showing up? He's trying to intimidate them from coming out by pulling out a big, huge army gun and saying on the signs on the highway, warning, live rounds going over this highway. He's trying to stop people from going out. Well, good job, Donald. You didn't stop nobody. And they came out in full force and they did the assignment. They stayed peaceful and they made themselves heard, seen, and known. And listen, burst your bubble, MAGA. You guys are not the majority. The majority hits the streets and does what they do. You guys are a manufactured internet troll, Russian bot farm to make up a whole bunch of fake ass people online with fake ass comments, fake ass posts, fake ass profiles, and just acting like these extra people that you just make up, some fuckface like Steve Bannon, put out like 1,000 MAGA people online. And most of those people are not real people. They're fake accounts. So realize this, people. The popularity and the place where people are right and just is with America. And those were real Americans that hit the street yesterday. And they showed it. And I'm proud of them, man. Don't let up. Keep going with this because this kind of stuff does get somewhere. And that was a true force of power, the people power that we saw yesterday. It's very inspiring. And I want to see more of it. You guys can't let up until this guy's out and you guys have fixed your country. You can't let up. And in some ways, what you have learned from this experience is that you need to fix your system so that nobody can ever duplicate this bullshit that this motherfucker has done in 2025 this year. So that's the assignment, Americans. You got out there yesterday. You did a good job, but there's still way more work to be done. And the reality of the popularity of Trump and his MAGA bullshit is very evident from yesterday. Very, very evident that it is not. And everybody who thinks they're on a popular side, you're fucking wrong. Go look at the pictures yesterday and see what you fucking think is absolute myth made up by a fucked up orange man sitting in the White House. That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's go. G's here. Good to see G. Precious has potential and strength, but his decision making was questionable. I really do think that's the side of his game that's messed up. Is cerebral. It could be very frustrating the last couple of years working with the Chua, saying, "Look, you need to get out there and do this and do this." And he's like, "Okay, I'll do it," and then he doesn't do it. I just probably part of the disconnect with him in some ways. Campaign was waived also. Yeah, former Raptor. I guess that matters. Former Raptor for like a split second. Trevor J saying the NBA G League teams will get a pay increase this year. $45,000 additional bonus starting 2025 and 2026 season. Is that on top of what they already get paid? Well, that's good. I think they were making 100,000 something already. So it sounds like they're getting closer to 2K. And well, AJ Lawson, well, that's new music to your ears, Mr. Two-Way, right? Oh, this is for G League also. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, they want to share the profits with different people. And, in some ways, it's not easy to be a G League player. They don't make a whole lot of money. And, well, this is a welcome change. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Sunday. Good morning to you, MJ. Good to see you. Frito's here. Good to see Frito, man. You think the Raptors are genuinely going to be third in the East? Come on, Mr. Raptor Freak. Yeah. You know what? Everybody can make up the bullshit they want to right now, right? So why can't I just say what I see and what I think? I think Brandon Ingram's going to have a huge impact on the Raptors. He's going to make a lot of clutch shots, and we're going to win close games at the end of games. I also think the Atlantic Division is weak. 3 of the teams are going to absolutely be shitty, and we're going to be able to get a lot of wins against the Nets, the Celtics, and the Sixers. And I also think that there's once again, there's an elevator down for a whole bunch of teams. Celtics, Milwaukee, Indiana. There's a lot of teams that were up near the top last year that are coming down. So there's teams in the East that are ready to come up. So don't be surprised when this shit happens. And the Raptors freak is more correct about the Eastern Conference standings than the actual experts at Bleacher Report or ESPN. Seriously, yeah, I think we could be top 3, if not top 4 or top 6. I think we'll be at least top 6. Like if there's a variance between where I see them, I say 3 through 6. And I don't see this team as a play-in team. They're not fucking wasting their lives to try and be a play-in team. The biggest thing that matters for the Raptors is health. That's it. I'm not even worried about them gelling anymore. I've seen enough after the preseason that I know these guys are dedicated and they're smart enough and they're selfless enough to make it work and that they're going to gel and they're going to fit. So the only thing that's going to get in their way now is whether they're on the injury list or not. So, yeah, I say third. Yeah, you think I'm crazy, Frito? No, man. I think that Bleacher Report and ESPN has been downgrading us on purpose. And, you can believe what they're saying. Their simulations are even saying close to what I'm saying. The simulation said they were going to be 5th. Yeah, ESPN did a simulation, put an article out last week that said that the Raptors would be 5th. The computer did it. Not them thinking with their biased minds. The computer, they put the information in, they simulated the season. The Raptors ended up 5th in the Eastern Conference and got in the first round of the playoffs with home and beat the first round, the Indiana Pacers. So, I mean, look, they can go ahead and downgrade us, say 20th, 23rd, all kinds of crazy ass bullshit that they say. But no, I think we could be 3rd. Seriously, I think we could be 3rd. And I'm just reading the room with the other teams and what they're doing. Which teams have proved themselves already? Which teams are the same as last year? Which teams are not the same as last year? And that's why I prognosticated this. I'm looking at the whole thing like that. That's right. Fiercely saying Giannis can have both his brothers with him, but Curry doesn't have the pull to keep his brother interesting. No, that's not the truth. MJ, I talked about it. Seth Curry got cut just for bookkeeping. He's coming right back. It's just that they're going to cut him for a little bit because they need to do certain things. I'll bet you he'll show back up on the team when G League season starts in November. So, yeah, no, this is all premeditated, and Seth Curry will be playing with Steph this year. So, yeah, that comment is null and void. It's not interesting. That's what's happening right there. Frito's saying Sixers Embiid is in the best shape I've seen him. Okay, we got Frito coming in here. He's a Sixers fan. Yeah, no, man. You're kidding yourself. That big dummy is going to be just one big disappointment to you guys by the end of his career. Seriously. Y'all tried to get him in the worst kind of way. You tanked. You tanked your franchise for many years. And in some ways, you're getting your karma for that. Seriously. You can't go about things with shortcuts and try and do bullshit like the Sixers did for a couple years, where you lose on purpose to try and get certain players. I mean, we've already seen what Ben Simmons became. We've already seen Markelle Fultz. We already seen Jahlil Okafor, all the different people y'all picked up in those years where y'all lost on purpose, and Joel Embiid is one of them. And Joel Embiid may be the longevity franchise disappointment that you'll have for this time. I'm telling you right now, he barely has a leg to stand on. You're going to say he's the best shape I've seen him? I have no confidence that Joel Embiid will play most of the season. You know the drill. He's going to be sitting on your sidelines looking sad and pathetic. And Nick Nurse is going to be on a sinking ship as a captain once again with the bullshit around that team. Paul George has been a negative influence on your team. He ain't done jack shit to show up but take a paycheck. And it's just like, whoa, this is Ben Simmons all over again. You got another guy who's a high-level player that you're paying out the ass, and you ain't going to get any return from. Because where in the world is Paul George? He's in street clothes, sitting on the bench, because that's what he does now. He's a grifter. You guys want to go ahead and get the whole – you guys try to shortcut shit in Philadelphia, whether it's losing on purpose to get high draft picks or let's go get a home run and sign a big name like Paul George. Fool's gold. That man checked out on his NBA career years ago, and he's just stealing money from franchises at this time. So, yeah, you go ahead and think that. You want to make a bet on how many games Embiid plays this year? I bet you don't. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Trevor J saying, I don't really care what anyone said about the Toronto Raptors. We're just going to shock everyone. I believe this. This is going to be a par for the course. I mean, pretty much the whole entire era of Masai and Bobby, we were shocking people because everybody just figures we're a bottom feeder and they never ever want to think that this team's actually functional, doing well, has good leadership, has a good culture, has good people in the organization. They're not idiots, and they are coming up every single time. Well, y'all could go ahead and act like you buried us with Tampa and taking our fucking championship team away from us. We're that good. We're that fucking good that we reload everything and we come right back up. So yeah, y'all can go ahead and sleep on this shit. We're going to surprise everybody. Brandon Ingram's on our team. You're in fucking trouble, is what I'm saying right now. That's right. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Fiercely saying campaign isn't that great. Weird shooting for him. Precious didn't even get to play in the regular season. His IQ, ball handling weren't that good, but he could defend. So why not keep him? I don't know, Fiercely. I went over all that with Achua. I went very in depth about Achua and why I think things are the way they are. Campaign, these aren't really that big of stories other than their former Raptors. And in some ways, I do have a special interest in what happens to Precious. I don't give a shit about Campaign. I don't give a shit about him. Frito's saying, I like Ingram, but he has never shown the ability to lead a playoff team, so I got to see it first. Sometimes BI goes into lackadaisical mode. Go Sixers. Yeah, I knew this was Sixers fan. Well, welcome to this morning, man. I know because I put the Eastern Conference thing up. You wanted to hear what I was saying. Listen, don't fault Ingram for that. I mean, he was on the Pelicans. And the weird thing is with the Pelicans is that he's not totally the main guy there. Zion was kind of the main guy there, right? But Zion wouldn't show up. And in some ways, Brandon was kind of hanging around waiting for Zion to show up. He's not taking anything lackadaisical right now. In fact, if you watched our last preseason game, he scored 13 points. And people will look at that and be like, whoa, he only scored 13 points. But no, you didn't see the Brandon Ingram stat stuff and like he's never done in his career. He's going out there and getting 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block, along with 13 points, along with the clutch 3 at the end of the game, which is what the Raptors got him for to seal the victory too. So, I get what Frito's saying here. There's not a body of work, but honestly, we know that Brandon Ingram's an overpowering clutch scorer, and that by theory, if the Raptors are in late game situations where the game is close, well, we've got a guy that may be more like Kawhi all of a sudden on our team. And Sixers fan, you know about Kawhi and clutch shots, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. So, I mean, I would just say this, man. Show him the ability to lead a playoff team. Well, he doesn't have to necessarily lead this team. All we need him to do is shoot and be, slinky and slick. That maybe RJ Barrett will come in and give a powerful speech for Toronto from a Toronto kid. I'm just saying. All right. Let's see. Hopefully I'm not getting kicked off right now. Let's keep going. But good to see you, man. Good to see you, Frito. I remember you from before. Let's see. Trevor's saying this. I wonder if we will see Angel Reese in Toronto to watch her brother play for Raptors 905. Probably. She's very excited for him, and we'll have to see. It's an interesting thing that's going on here. We'll have to see if Angel Reese comes to Toronto for a G League game this fall. I'll bet you he will. She will. I bet you she will. Yeah, let's see. G's saying this. VJ, the Sixers rookie looks really good, though. Their vets are letting them down with their health. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what? VJ Edgecombe's going to single-handedly carry the Sixers somewhere this year? No. And once again, I don't like the build of VJ Edgecombe. Seriously. Once again, I don't like these athletic guards that are really kind of athletic guys. And in some ways, the rest of their part of their game is not totally fully realized. Sometimes people get mesmerized with dunkers and athletes like Scoot Henderson, and they overlook the flaws in their games for the NBA. Maybe Edgecombe looks good. I have to see him in action this year, and I'll base it more on that. But my initial reactions to him is that he's that kind of player that I just brought up. A very athletic player, maybe a little overhyped. We'll just have to see how it translates and see if it is actually going to be what you guys are saying. I'll give him a chance. I have to see him against the Raptors for the first time. And then I'll be able to okay, this is Edgecombe. All right. I see what's going on here. That's right. Smooth saying this. Toronto better than Detroit? Yeah. Why not? What did fucking Detroit do, man? They got Kay Cunningham. We got Scotty. They got Jalen Duren. We got Jakob Poeltl. I mean, on paper, go look at the teams next to each other. The Raptors have a better team through 12 than the Pistons. And once again, I'm going to say this. The Pistons lost a couple of guys that got them so much success last year, and that's Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dennis Schroeder. You guys got to understand how important Dennis was to that team. Everybody sleeps on Dennis and the factor that he gives to teams. In some ways, he gave organization and guidance to the young Pistons. Tobias Harris is not the most vocal leader, but he's going to be there, and he's going to be their leader. He's their unk. But all the unks are gone. Malik Beasley got in trouble for gambling. He's gone. So this is not the same Pistons team. In some ways, you got what, Levert and Duncan Robinson coming in as new players. Is that really that thrilling? Seriously. So think about it. There's certain players that have left that team. And plus, Jaden Ivey's hurt again. There, once again, we're talking about people waiting around for people to show up, like in the Sixers. Well, Jaden Ivey, they're waiting for you. And Detroit also. So yeah, I once again, Reggie, my whole premise for what I said was just because y'all see Detroit, Atlanta, and Orlando with a bump up on us doesn't mean that's accurate, because y'all downgrade the Raptors and everything that y'all look at. And I'm not willing to say that Atlanta, Orlando, and Detroit are just leapfrogging us all of a sudden just because of bias. I'll say the opposite. Yeah. James is saying, Lex, make a prediction on who's going to win fantasy this year from our league. I can't do that, man. I have no idea. I'm going to have to see it. And there's so many things that are going to happen. I mean, if you want me to tell you who the favorites are and the people you need to watch out for, James, I can tell you who they are. Jason Dukes. Duke rocks. That is the original fantasy champion in this league. The first year he won it. I would say this. Amit, the GOAT, is an extreme competitor on trivia, but he has not totally shown himself active fully on the fantasy game in the past. We'll have to see if he takes it more seriously this year. Trucker Kaz is a maniacal fantasy player who absolutely dominated our WNBA this year, and he should be very much respected. MK's magnificent team. You've got a 2-time WNBA champion who went an undefeated season 2 years ago. So I say these are teams you should be watching out for. Is Duke rocks, MK's magnificent team, Kaz, and possibly Amit if he wakes up and he gets going on things. And you know what? You should watch out for me, is what I'm saying also. That's what I say right there. These are the managers that have very much competed at a high level on a regular basis. Amit has not totally proven himself, but Amit is a maniac when it comes to competition. And I feel like he might get into high gear this year if he keeps up with it. That's the whole premise right there. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Precious got waived. Damn. Yeah. It's a tough league, man. It's a tough league. It's not an easy league to stay in. They got new players coming in every year, taking your spots. And it's a tough league. You better get better. If you don't, you're gone. You're gone. That's right. That's right. Giannis Sky's here. Hello. Where do you see the Bucks? Yeah. Unfortunately, man, I don't have good things for you, man. I see them like in the play-in possibly, but probably in the play-in. That's where I slotted them. I think that they're going to have a really bad year because that is the worst team on the roster that ever has been put next to your guy Giannis. I feel bad for him, honestly. I think that the Bucks front office has done such a shitty job since they won the championship, and that Giannis has every right to move his family back to Greece and make overtures that he wants to play for another team. Because Milwaukee's front office is inept, and they've absolutely dropped the ball. And I think that one of the biggest key things this year that's going to piss Giannis off is the lack of Brook Lopez next to him, and that they're such idiots for switching to Miles Turner. I don't think Miles Turner is the right kind of center to be next to Giannis because he's not defensive enough. And in some ways, some of the great defense that the Bucks have had in the last few years is gone. The Bucks will not be a good defensive team this year. And they're missing people like Pat Connaughton now. They're missing Chris Middleton. They don't have a lot of the guys that were steady around him. The only guy that's left now is Bobby Portis. And Giannis is around a bunch of very trashy players. Kevin Porter Jr., Kyle Kuzma. I love you, Gary Trent Jr., but you're a streak shooter. And we know what you can depend on with Trent Jr. And that's a lot of their roster, Giannis guy. I'm just being fair. I'm not dissing your dude, Giannis. He is the reason why they will do anything if they do. He is absolutely their best thing going. But their front office has dropped the ball so much. I could actually predict this the sayings of Chris Haynes and people around NBA insiders that Giannis is going to try and get out of there in this season is very true. I could see it happening this year. His loyalty to that franchise can only go so far. And they can sign all of his brothers. They can do this. They can do that. But if they are not fucking working in the right direction to get them winning more, Giannis will walk. And it's very likely he could get traded to the Knicks this year. I could see this shit. At the trade deadline, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Knick because Milwaukee's such a fail and he forces his way out of there. And I know Bucks fans don't want to hear that. And as another team that, you want to keep your superstars, I feel for you guys, but blame your front office. They're inept. They're idiots. And they've made very poor decisions pretty much since y'all have won the championship. So I want to preface that. I'm with your dude. I stand with Giannis, but he can't do everything himself by himself. And Brook Lopez is going to really be missed. Trust me, he's going to really be missed. He's never played on the Bucks without Brook Lopez. And this is going to be a totally different kind of thing than any Milwaukee season ever before with Giannis. And that's not a good thing. People do not realize how good a defender Brook Lopez is. And the Bucks will not have any kind of interior defense in the right way other than Giannis and Bobby Portis a little bit. Otherwise, they're going to be shit. And none of those shooters that they got on their bench are good defenders either. So, yeah, Milwaukee's going to have a long year, and it may be a very sad year for them. But if you're a Giannis fan and you just care about Giannis, well, he may get freed this year, just like Kevin Garnett did from Minnesota a long time ago. That's right. Smooth saying this. What we'll tell is if there's chemistry. Detroit, Orlando have that. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they have chemistry. Orlando maybe has chemistry sometimes, but once again, I don't like Orlando's build. I feel like Paulo and Franz kind of have the same weaknesses and the same strengths. So they're not diversified. We could say Scotty, RJ, Brandon, Emmanuel, and Jakob are all very different. And they all give us different strengths and their variances of each other. But Paulo and Franz both can't shoot threes, and they operate in the same kind of actions. There's some flaws with that, seriously. And a lot of those other players, too, is like I see Desmond Bane stepping on Jalen Suggs' toes. I see all kinds of different areas where it's a little duplicitous. And in some ways, it's like, well, okay, you got this guy already. Why did you go get this guy? There's a little bit of that going on with the Magic. Plus, once again, when we saw the Magic earlier this year in the spring, they were bad. They weren't looking right at all. And there's some issues there underlying still. I don't totally think that their coach has the confidence of their players totally too. I've gotten overtures that Jamal Mosley has lost his players at times in the last year. So there's a lot more dysfunction with the Orlando Magic than the NBA wants to promote right now. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot more. So that's kind of how I look at Orlando and what I'm saying here. Raptors champs is saying, laugh out loud, over one game, the media has been saying that. I know Embiid is not going to survive this year, but I thought we've been here before. Yeah, they're going to learn, right? Raptors champ, salute, respect to my guy, Raptors champ. Love seeing you in the chat more and more recently. Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Believe in this. Yeah, I want to see Sixers Nation get all happy and Joel Embiid this, Joel Embiid that. And then all the dreams come crashing down because it's just normal shit. And the funny thing is when this shit happens to Joel, it's his own doing because he's reckless with the way he falls on the floor with his flopping shit. In some ways, the Sixers fans probably be like, why did we ever get James Harden to teach Joel Embiid how to flop? Because ever since he started doing this, he's been hurting himself more and more and hurting other players. I mean, hell, he made Danny Green have to retire. So it's like, look, he's reckless. He's dangerous. And when he falls, they should be yelling timber because that motherfucker will fall at some point. And he doesn't know how to take bumps on a hardwood floor. He hits that knee over and over again. Bam. You did it to yourself, falling and flopping like you do, Joel Embiid. That's why you're a disgrace. Seriously. With your fake ass flopping around. Well, you get hurt for it. Well, that's just how I see it, man. He's doing it to himself because he falls all over the place. Neil saying this, the Raptors will build their chemistry over the first 6 to 10 games. Many of the mishaps of the ball being tossed out will reduce. Well, this preseason is preseason, and we played a lot of like end of the bench guys trying to make the team, and there's going to be turnovers. Plus, we have a young team overall. We're going to play 30 minutes of our starters. We're going to see a higher level of taking care of the ball and things like that. So this is natural. Of course, Neil. Good to see you, Neil. Always good to see you, man. I like the schedule. I know that there's, last year was such a fuckery, putting all the tough games at the beginning of the season, all the easy games at the end of the season. It was not right. In some ways, it was such bullshit. This year, we have them interspersed with each other. I mean, we're going to play people like the Wizards and the Hornets and the Nets within the first month of the season, which is great because we don't want to just have tough opponents for the first 20 games of the season like we did last year. We want to have tough opponent here, medium opponent here, easy team here, that kind of spread around our schedule. And also, I really like the back-to-backs and the spreading out of games. I feel like the Raptors have a better schedule for travel and for also getting rest and just be able to get beats. In past seasons recently, the NBA schedule has been really weird to the Raptors. There would be like we would have like 3 games in 4 days, and then there would be some stretches where we'd have like 4 days off. And I'm like, why don't you spread it all out more even over the whole season? And there's a lot more of that this year. There's way more every other day stuff. And that's good for teams because they get a rhythm of off days and rehab days, game day, off day, rehab day, game day. If they can get every other day parts of their schedule, that's fantastic. This preseason was very much like that. We saw an every other day kind of schedule for the most part. So we have that kind of schedule. We have that kind of schedule that's interspersing easier opponents with tougher opponents so that we can gauge where we're at with how well we're playing in a fair, judgmental way. As far as like, oh, well, it's the Nets. Of course, we're going to do this. Oh, now we're playing the Nuggets. And, we gauge them on this. So I like this a lot better. And I say the Atlanta Hawks, the first game of the season is a medium tough game. It's not that tough. In some ways, we're really lucky we're getting to play the Hawks early in the season like this and the Bucks because they have new teams and they're going to be figuring shit out. And just like Matt and Jack said on the last broadcast, getting some of these teams earlier in the season is smart and easier because they are new teams and they have to gel. And the Hawks may not have their shit together completely on Wednesday night when we go there for our opener. And we may have our shit more together and jump on them because maybe there's some wrinkles that haven't been figured out with Kristaps. And maybe Nickel is, it's a little bit not totally right so far. So that's part of why I feel like, somebody put on Reddit, what do you think the Raptors will win in their first 10 games of the season? I put 6-4. And I think that they could be 7-3, honestly. But I think they could be 6-4 in their first 10 games. And I mean, they beat Atlanta in the first game of the season. They're going to play Milwaukee here in Toronto 2 days after that. We're going to win against Milwaukee in Toronto on that Friday. Yeah, we should kick their ass. I'm telling you, what I said about the Bucks, you'll see it on that Friday night right away. You'll see right away the lack of Brook Lopez and just exactly who the Bucks are. Giannis can only go so far as one man carrying that team. Let's just put it that way. Shaq Lindsay saying, let's be real with Atlanta. Watch them the other day against Houston, and they are struggled against Houston bench. Starters were resting. Yeah, they're already overhyping. Them, and they hadn't done jack shit. I hate that. Seriously, especially when we look like we're good and we're going to be good and they downgrade us and, I don't believe it. Meanwhile, nobody's proven anything. And maybe even the evidence is the contrary, like Shaq Lindsay's saying here, and they're pumping them up still. Yeah, this is Lakers kind of shit. It's like, oh, no, the Lakers are so good. Meanwhile, the Lakers are like 400. Seriously. It's like, oh, no, the Lakers are a playoff team, man. Oh, nah, they're a playoff team. No, fuck that. I seen their record. I seen how they play. Stop lying to us. Seriously. So, yeah, Shaq Lindsay, go look for your own eyes. Let's go see who the Hawks are and whether they gelling right and ever they look right. Just because they got these guys doesn't mean they're going to work, is what I'm going to say. I mean, Philadelphia, you thought you were going to get a championship because you got Paul George? That's not how it works. That's right. Raptors Champs is saying, I don't expect BI to lead. Yeah. He doesn't have to do that on this role. In some ways, he's always kind of been not a natural figurehead leader on the team. There's always somebody else on the team that's more the figurehead. But he's definitely in the hierarchy near the top as far as one of the leaders on the team. But we know Brandon's style is quiet, smooth. Somebody say he's lackadaisical. No, he's just his energy is very calm and collected and methodical. And look, I once again will point this out. This man sat out most of this past year waiting, biting on the chomp. He loves playing basketball so much. In fact, that's why he was hurt, because he played too much basketball, because he can't stop playing. And this man is living near the OVO Center, and he's going there constantly. He's going there in the middle of the night. He's going there like 2 or 3 times a day, y'all. Seriously. It's all he's doing. It's what he said in an interview. It's like, I've not really gone around downtown or gone anywhere. I've just been going to OVO. So, I mean, look, people, if you don't understand who Brandon Ingram is, he's a gym rat. He's a student of the game. He's a student of Kobe. And he loves fucking basketball. And he ain't trying to be injured sidelining like he was last year. He's trying to be in the game and playing. And he's going to, with Dr. McKechnie around, he's going to get in those games. That's right. Raptors champ saying, I like Elijah Martin. like Elijah Martin. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Elijah Martin, VJ Edgecombe, Scoot Henderson. These are strong guards they're athletic beasts. They look like amazing players, like big He-Man arms. In some ways, that's a great thing to have, but you have to have the know-how too. And you have to have other skills too. Fred VanVleet had big, strong arms. He could steal the ball from people, but man, the brain was the brawn for Fred. And Scoot Henderson ain't got no brain over Braun. He's just got brawn. And you see what Scoot Henderson has done since his overhyped draft class. His close to Victor Wembanyama, you are joking. And who called that out immediately about Scoot Henderson in that time is documented on this channel. The whole Scoot and Victor hype, I did not believe in Henderson in the least at that time. And I'm on record for it. And nothing has proven me wrong since then. So that's what I'm saying. In some ways, I have a track record of being right on a lot of the shit I'm saying right now. That's right. Shaq Lindsay's saying Maxey and VJ are nice, but they can't stop anyone on the perimeter. You mean Tyrese Maxey? It made me think Kleber. Fool's gold. And Sixers, fool's gold. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be tied my success to Big Dummy. Seriously, I would not want my success for my team to be tied to Joel Embiid. And that's why there's a huge percentage of Sixers Nation that is anti-Embiid to a degree. They're like, we don't even fucking want him anymore. Daryl Morey, get him off this team, man. Can you trade Joel to New York or something? You know, some Sixers fans are very much like that. And they've not just been like that recently. For a couple of years, some people have been like, fuck, Joel's such a waste of time, man. I'm just so fucking sick of him. And you can look at his career games played and how many games he's missed. And it's very 50-50. In fact, I think he's missed more games than he's actually played in his whole entire career as far as showing up for games that he could have played in. Seriously, what is this value on this? What is this? Why do you guys think that he's the end all be all? And maybe he looks healthy right now, but how long will he look healthy? His coach is Nick Nurse. Remember that. His coach is Nick Nurse, and he has a proclivity like Thibodeau to run his starters to the ground. So it's like, that's not a winning combination. We can prognosticate Nick Nurse will injure Joel Embiid at some point because he overplays him. That's just what Nick does. We know here in Toronto very well. Very, very well about that. James is saying Cole Anthony and Gary Trent could have a good season for them. They don't have any guard depth. They're just weird, man. Like, there's a couple of teams in this league that are weird. The Suns are weird, and the Bucks are weird. They're just weird, man. Like, you'll see it when we play them, and we're going to play them 2 times in Toronto right away at the beginning of the season. You're going to see them, and you're going to be like, holy shit, Lex is right. Milwaukee is not a real team this year. It's not a real team. They just don't have enough good players to really compete. Giannis will not be enough. It's going to be very reminiscent of like a Raptors team where we got Chris Bosh, and there's nobody else on the team, like Jarrett Jack and all these other guys, and there's nobody else on the team. This is what the Bucks will look like. They'll look like 2007, 2008 Raptors is what they're going to look like this year, with one dude, Chris Bosh, running the show, and everything else is garbage around him. No disrespect to the Raptors who play with Bosh, but you guys understand what I'm talking about. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, New York, be careful. Milwaukee will gut your team. Towns ain't good enough for one versus for one. Say goodbye to OG. Yeah, that's what the Bucks have said. If they are going to trade Giannis, they're going to really want to make it worth it. And that could very well be true. And that, you know what, in some ways, Trevor, we shouldn't be upset about, or Shaq Lindsay, we shouldn't be upset about this. Sorry, Shaq Lindsay. Because in some ways, this could actually be bad for the Knicks, too. Fool's gold and getting Giannis. Over trading certain players and losing some of the stuff that they had that was helping them win just to get the sake of getting Giannis. And who knows, maybe they do it right and Milwaukee does actually get better from the trade because they get 2 players that are actually very helpful to them. I know it's tough whenever you lose a star of the caliber of Giannis, but I mean, I could see that happening there too. Kareem Thomas saying, can we all agree that fucking month of preseason is way too much? 6 games, 1 month should be condensed 4 games in 2 weeks. No, I don't agree with that at all. Nope. I'm the opposite. The old NBA was actually longer for the preseason, and they had 8 games. And that was the standard for a long time. The players complained, and they didn't like it, so they shortened it. And now they give the teams the option to play as many as they want. Some of these teams only played 3 preseason games. Seriously, the Nets only played 3 preseason games, really. They played 2 games in China against the Suns, and then they played us. and they played a game against the Israeli team that came over before that. But, we played 6 games, and that's fantastic. I want these guys to get as much time. We have a younger team. We need to see these guys out there. This is beneficial to have this many games. So I disagree, Kareem Thomas. In fact, they've shrunk the league's preseason already, and that's where we're at this point. It was much longer. And, some of the players have said they like that, and some of the players have not liked it, like your attitude. They'd be like, why are we doing this for so long? I say, listen, you have a longer preseason, you have more time to tune up, and also you really get a chance to really look at the end of the bench more. I mean, think about it. How much did we really see Roden this preseason? Seriously, we saw him for maybe 10 minutes in games the whole entire preseason. So if you have 8 games, well, that's what it used to be. Now you can have up to 6. That's the max. And the Raptors utilized all the max games this year, which I like. I'd rather them do that. Plus, we get the reactants talked about more games because they play more games. So, yeah, I'm not with you guys on this. I see that Shaq Lindsay's agreeing. I think they got it right now. And it's the option of the team whether they want to have less games or not. Some teams only played 4. Some teams played 3. It was like 3 to 6 is the option. So let's see. Reggie's saying this. Atlanta is a weird vibe team. I see them being below Toronto at 7. Yeah. I am insulted that everybody just automatically throws those teams above us. I don't see it. I don't see it exactly. Once again, you're going to say Desmond Bane's that much of a needle pusher? Why are you sleeping on Brandon Ingram then? Why are you sleeping on him? Who's a more impactful, better NBA player? Brandon Ingram. And we're adding him to our team and basically not losing anything. Also, that's the other thing. We didn't lose anybody from last year and the great talent that we had last year to an extent. And now we are just adding Brandon on top of it. So that's a needle pusher. That should push us from 30 wins to 49 wins. Like I'm saying, that's 19 more wins. People are like, whoa, that's 19 more wins. Yeah, the East got worse though, too. And it's more middle pack. And if Darko's excellent, coaching is guys really well, make good decisions late in the game, tactician. And we got Brandon now with his weapon for clutch shots late in the game that we can go get them. And Scotty has developed even more to a higher level, and we're hitting it on more with some of our young players or stepping up in different ways. Yeah, why not? Why not? They're saying all the potential in the world, these young cores in Detroit and Orlando. What about the young core in Toronto that y'all sleep on all the time? What about Jamal Shed? What about Grady Dick? What about Jacoby Walter? I mean, that's what I'm saying. We got to look at this fairly. And I know I'm biased towards the Raptors, but they are definitely biased against us. And where is the reality in the middle? Seriously, where is the reality in the middle? That's what I'm saying right there. Reggie's saying mine is New York, Indiana, Philly, Detroit, Orlando, Toronto, and Atlanta, and Milwaukee, and Orlando. Okay, Boston might show up anywhere from 7 to 9. I say this. I mean, it's like the philosophy is, well, we either want to be at the top or the bottom is probably what Celtics fans are saying. And that's why I really do feel like they're obviously not going to be a top team, that their own fan base and even the strategy within the team may be tank. Because it's like, what's the point of trying to win games this year? They're going to be very much in a similar position to the Raptors in the last 2 years, where the fan nations will be like, what's the point of this? Jason's out. We need to just lose. Stop winning games, Celtics. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that. And that will put them out of the playoffs. Watch. I'm telling you right now. James is saying Elijah Martin reminds me of Eric Bledsoe, Marcus Smart. Yeah, they made the comparison to Marcus Smart of Jamal Shed on the broadcast recently, which it's not a horrible comparison. It's not a horrible comparison. Yeah, I see Eric Bledsoe and Elijah Martin. I see Eric Bledsoe in there, and we see how much Eric Bledsoe did in his NBA career and who he was and his build and his type. Let's see, good guard to have in the starting lineup. Man, I don't know if he's ever going to be a starter in the NBA. Let's just put it that way. This league is tough. And Fred VanVleet is a very, very rare person. Let's just put it that way. To do the path that Fred has done, you have to be extremely special. And that's why Fred is a GOAT. That's why Fred is somebody that everybody should celebrate from Raptors history. Because honestly, in some ways, Fred is the most unexpected, undrafted player in the history of the NBA. He's the most unexpected. In some ways, he's top 3. He's top 3 undrafted player in the NBA ever. And I put him there with Ben Wallace, and Moses Malone. Like those are the top 3 undrafted players in the whole history of the NBA. Fred VanVleet's in the top 3. I'm telling you right now, man. Telling you, that's right. That's right. Let's go. Reggie saying, as much as I don't like the Sixers, I can't see them having another disaster year. There's too much at stake for them. Why can't you? Didn't Nick Nurse have multiple disaster years with Toronto after the championship, whether it was the Tampa year into the next year and then the next year? Why can't you see this? Where has Nick Nurse shown the proclivity to get his team out of the mud mentally because he's that kind of coach? No, he's not that kind of coach. He's not a uniter like Darko is. He's more of a tough, ornery drill sergeant who's a tactician, who's very smart with basketball stuff, but the person stuff is not the best. And there's already weird kind of fractures and cracks in there. Kyle Lowry, in some ways, he's ready to go be a sideline reporter for Prime and maybe go watch the Eagles and just kind of hang out. He's happy. He's smiling. But in some ways, Kyle's joy does not have anything to do with whether the Sixers do well or not. He's just being a happy guy. And he doesn't give a shit. He checked out last year without caring about everything. Because Kyle can't care about things like he did in Toronto and Philadelphia because he doesn't have the power to change it himself. And in some ways, he's gotten frustrated, I'm sure, with Paul George's where's Waldo antics and big dummies injuries and just the bullshit on the Sixers. In some ways, he's there to advocate and be next to Nick and look out for him. But also at the same time, as an ultimate competitor that Lowry is, he can check himself out and say, you know what, I don't care what the Sixers do. I'm just going to have a good time. I'm going to be around the team. I'm going to be a good influence. I'm going to do what I do. But in some ways, I don't really give a shit what they do. I have to detach myself from this. I can't be the ultimate competitor like I normally am because this shit is just frustrating. I got that energy from Kyle Lowry all last year when that dumpster fire was going on. And the other thing I've sensed from them is he has no respect for Paul George. That Kyle Lowry has no respect at the least for Paul George. And there's an underlying tension between the two of them on that team that isn't exactly right. So, yeah, what's going on is so great. And has Nick Nurse ever pulled a team that's dysfunctional and toxic out of the mud and fixed it? No. We saw how he ran it to the ground in Toronto without fixing things. And Chris Boucher said in the last year that Nick Nurse coached our team. It was just weird, man. It's just weird. So I'm just saying, Nick Nurse is not totally proactive on certain things like Darko is. And that's why in some ways, Darko is a way better coach than Nick Nurse. And some people would be like, whoa, that's crazy talk, Lex. No, I'm just saying the evidence is in how the team is vibing, how the team is moving with each other, how the team is together. Nick Nurse doesn't build bonds on his team like Darko does. And this has really been a huge problem for the Sixers since Nick has been there, honestly. So once again, fool's gold. You can go ahead and steal our coach, Daryl Morey, with your underhanded shit with Rich Paul and Clutch. Steal our coach. You know what? You get what you get. Just like you try to tank to do this. Everything happens for a reason. You take shortcuts, you get what you get. And that's what's happening in Sixers land right there. That's it. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's right. All right, let's see. Neil's saying this. You can get rid of preseason, start the regular season in its place, and reduce back-to-backs. I mean, this is interesting ideas, and they have talked about doing this kind of stuff, but I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise. I think in some ways you do need some preseason just to warm up and kind of say, I want a mulligan. We just got to see a couple things, and then, all right, these ones count. It's really kind of what it is, a practice round and a warm-up. You know, not everybody's working out all summer like the Raptors are. Some of them are just showing up for the first time, and they're out of shape, and they actually do need to get back in shape, like Nikola Jokic, stuff like that. So preseason is essential. You should not get rid of it completely, but you have the option to go down to 3 games if you want to. So Smooth saying, especially with Nick in charge, can't see it happening. Yeah, I don't see how he pulls them out of the mud. He's a good coach in certain ways, but he was a good coach because Dwayne Casey built up that program and he just took the last spot and took it at the end. In some ways, he was the coach we need in the playoffs because he was gifted and creative with box and one and different kind of things he did with the Raptors on their championship year. But don't get it twisted. A lot of the chemistry and the buildup was Dwayne Casey's coaching with DeMar and Kyle before that. So let's not get it twisted here. Yeah, and it's easy for Nick Nurse to coach veteran guys like Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, and those guys because they know the drill and they've been around for a while and they're not knuckleheads and young kids and stuff like that. Nick Nurse will have a harder time coaching younger players because in some ways, he has to develop them. All right, let me keep going. Giannis is saying, what's your opinion on Jason Capono? I like Jason Capono. He's a Raptor legend. He's a 3-point shootout winner for the Raptors. And his tenure on the team was great. And I love that he came back around this last year and did interviews for our 30th season, showing that he is an alumni that is proud. And also he came to game. He was in our arena last year. So much respect to a role player, a guy who really was a one-trick pony. And that was an amazing 3-point shooter. So respect to Raptors alumni, Jason Capono. Yeah, nothing wrong with him, man. He did his job right. Exactly right. That's right. Kaz saying that could work good, Neil. What, no preseason? No, it's not going to happen, guys. I don't know if the players actually would want that either. I know the season's long and they try to figure out how they can cut it down. It's not such a grind. But in some ways, it's like you need the preseason. It's just important. You got to have a tune-up. Every sport does it, right? Isn't there preseason, spring training for baseball? The Leafs have a preseason. There's a couple of preseason games for the football. Why do you think that is? Because athletes need time to get back and get together. And a lot of teams are changing their rosters and they got to kind of figure things out in some games that don't matter. So, yeah, abolishing preseason is not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Big Dummy. That's right. Fiercely saying difference is the passion. Darko is passionate and cares about the team. Nick Nurse doesn't even seem to care about the Sixers. Well, it's such a convoluted, fucked up thing. And I'm sure Nick, in some ways, is why did you fuck up your thing that you had here in Toronto? We wanted you to be our Popovich, bro. But Daryl Morey and Rich Paul got an idea in your head, and you submarined our team in the last year you were on it so that Masai had to fire you so you could run off and be with Daryl Morey. That was the plan the whole year, guys. And I try and tell Raptors fans that, and they don't see it because they didn't pay attention close enough. And they love Nick Nurse. He's our championship coach. And in some ways, they want to honor him and stuff like that. He was a snake. He was absolutely a snake that year. The action that Nick Nurse did, in some ways, it was exactly like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors from the Thunder. And also, they didn't win a championship, though. And also, it's even worse because he sabotaged a season of our team just to get himself out of there. It's so fucking selfish, man. He was totally throwing games for us as our coach in the last year that he coached for us. Our record should have been way better. He was calculating all kinds of shit. In some ways, he was fucking with Scott's career because he was fucking with us being able to win. And you don't think that it's fishy, besides DeAndre DeRozan, that the Raptors shot 50% of the free throw line, and he stopped coaching in the second half of that playing game against the Chicago Bulls, the last time he ever coached the Raptors? It's all right there if you really just read between the lines. Nick Nurse, you fucking made it toxic on purpose so you could leave. And if you had won that playing game against the Bulls, we wouldn't have fired you. But you knew that, and that's why you had to make sure you lost so that Masai would have to fire you. He even did shit like at the end of the season, he started saying, I'm looking forward to summer. He's like, oh, shit, wait, we are playing in the play-in. Never mind. I'm not trying to look forward to summer. We have a basketball game. Yeah, that told you exactly where his mind was. Right there. He told on himself. Seriously, it was fucked up, man. Let's see. Raptors champs is saying Jason Capono fire. He was a really good three-point shooter. Really, really good three-point shooter. Did Nick Nurse have a burner account disrespecting some of the players? No, it was more like, you know what it is? Nick is detached from the team, unlike Darko. Darko's the kind of guy that'll give his phone number to all the players and they can call him 24/7. If Scotty is upset or something's going on with him in his personal life, he can call Darko at 1 a.m. in the morning and Darko will answer the phone. Nick Nurse wouldn't do that shit, man. Nick Nurse had boundaries on his time and his place. And he would tell people, no, don't talk to me. Don't come to my office after the game. I want to play piano and just leave me alone. So there was access limited with Coach. He really was a coach and not necessarily their friend. Let's just put it that way. That Nick has that kind of boundary with his relationships with his players. It's like, I'm more your coach. I'm not trying to be your friend. Darko's trying to be your friend. And that's a big part of the difference right there. That's it. I don't think Nick was disrespecting the players on the down low. I think that, and more I think about this in that year, what happened was Earl Watson was on his coaching staff and he saw Nick fucking pulling bullshit. He saw Nick pulling punches. He saw Nick holding us back through his coaching in different ways, and he didn't respect him for that. So at a certain point in the season that year, Earl Watson went rogue as one of his coaches and kind of was on the down low, not respecting Nick Nurse anymore for doing this shit. I don't know exactly what happened with Earl Watson and why he had to be dismissed for a couple games around Christmas that year. But there's something about that that has to do with everything that happened that year. And if I could talk to Earl Watson and he could tell us exactly what happened, but maybe I'm totally off. Maybe Earl Watson was wrong at that time and he was absolutely wrong. And that's why he's not around the NBA at this point. I don't know. I don't know the full details and they're privy not to us. Maybe there'll be a tell-all book someday that'll tell us exactly what the fuck happened. All I can do is speculate. But Earl Watson had something to do with the weirdness on the team because a lot of the overtures were it's not the players that have any problems. The players are fine. They like each other. They're playing together, but there's toxicness with the coaches. And to me, I read that as Earl Watson lost respect for Nick Nurse because he saw what he was doing on the sly. That's what I'm saying. Right there. Yeah, let's see. Blackhawks saying Nick Nurse did us a favor by giving up on us because he wasn't developing the rookies anyway. Exactly. It all works out that way, guys. That's the crazy thing. Something could be a tragedy. Something could feel like a detriment and like you're getting robbed or like this is not fair. And that Nick Nurse thing felt like that at that time. I'm not going to lie. It felt like the Sixers had stolen our coach. But you know what? It's amazing how things work out in the long run. It kind of teaches you lessons about doing things the right way. And that's why the Raptors are set up for success because we do everything the right way for the most part. We're not underhanded like Steve Ballmer and aspiration. We're not fucking trying to tank to get a high draft pick, idiots that weren't Tank Nation in the Raptors thing. No, we're not. And we're definitely damn for sure not trying to take shortcuts by signing huge free agent players that we think will just automatically make us contenders. No, we're building it the right way, the tough way, developing young players and being smart with our GMing. And that's why we're going to be successful because we're doing it the right way. It's just like a player like Jacoby. You do it the right way with your fundamentals and you work hard, you will make it. And that's the difference right there. You can make shortcuts like the Sixers have in different ways in the last 10 years, and you'll get exactly what they get. That's the difference right there. That's right. Raptors champ saying, I remember Nick Nurse had a fake Twitter account and was talking about Trent and Flint in the comments, but they controlled that rumor quickly. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually true. It's more likely that was Eric Flynn. It's more likely that it was Malachi's dad that was doing shit like that. But who knows? Who knows what's true? I'm speculating. Once again, the opinions that are expressed on this channel are not necessarily the opinions of the Toronto Raptors, the NBA, or anybody else except for the Raptor freak, Lexi. That's it. I mean, you guys can understand what I'm saying. Nick Nurse said we were fascinating when he left. Maybe he felt like we ate him. We ate his own, like they say, oh, you ate your own. Because in some ways we clamored and called for his firing after that sham of what he did at the end of that season. His heart wasn't into the coaching our team, obviously. And Masai had to do what he had to do. Some people say that was a fail that Masai fired him, but he forced him to fire him. Nick showed up and didn't care anymore. He lost it. He even said, like, after being here for 10 years, in some ways, it's like it's a long 10 years. He's making overtures that he didn't want to fucking be here. So it's not like Masai fired him and everybody should get mad at Masai for making a blunder. No, Nick Nurse forced his way out and Masai had to do what he had to do for it to be healthy going forward. And that put them in a lurch. They were not expecting to do that. Think about how long it took us to hire Darko. It took us like 2 months. And they really, really were extensive with their search. And they really did want to fuck it up. I mean, you could be Sean Marks in Brooklyn and have 8 different coaches over a certain period of time. No, we're not trying to do a coach's carousel here because we know that's not good for your franchise. And it's really bad for players like Nicholas Claxton to have 8 different coaches in his career with crazy ass shit in Brooklyn. So, no, we're not trying to do a coach's carousel. And Darko was the man and he was the best pick. And we're seeing it. They were very methodical in their procedure in hiring Rajakovic, and they did not make a rash decision. They did all their research, and they really understood who they were getting and what they were getting, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing with him now. So we're going to see it even more this year. In fact, I'll predict once again, the Raptors will do so well this year that Darko Rajakovic will be a top candidate for coach of the year this year. Seriously, he could be our 4th coach of the year in Raptors history this year because we're going to go above and beyond what they expect, and he'll look real good for it. The coach usually gets the spoils for this kind of upward trend in standings. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Neil's saying this. I called out Nick Nurse back when we had Matt Thomas. When Matt was on the floor with Norman winning their minutes, Nick Nurse would kill their momentum and bring back the starters. Yeah, I mean, those are little things. I mean, we all had our little quirks with Nick and some of his decision making, how he liked to do things. No timeouts. Really annoyed me trying to let the team play through issues without calling a timeout. He'd get burned for that. And then, of course, the shorter rotation and the heavy minutes on the starters. Never, ever agreed with that. All right, let's go check on our tabs. I appreciate you guys being here for this. They've gone and given Kevin Durant a 2-year, $90 million extension today. And I don't get this, man. I mean, some people can say, well, Raptors just did this with Brandon. He hadn't showed up yet, and y'all gave him an extension. Why are you doing this, Kevin? Yeah, but Kevin, how old is Kevin? And they're going to put $45 million on Kevin Durant a year for the next couple of years. He's getting Fred's money now. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird move. In some ways, Kevin wanted this. And, well, they locked him down. I don't know. This may be a bad move and a bad contract for the Rockets very, very soon. I think it's more likely it's going to be a bad contract for them. Seriously, I really do think that. Yeah, I really do. All right, let's see. Let's see. We got the straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. Right now, today I'm doing a company called Oneka Elementals. Oneka Elements is a company that sells shampoo, conditioner, body wash, lotion, liquid hand soap, facial moisturizer, hair care products. Oneka Elements hair oil. It is a Quebec-based company with on-site farm production using certified organic ingredients. So if you want body wash, shampoo, conditioner, you don't have to get an American brand from Procter & Gamble or Dow or whoever. You can get something from Oneka Elements out of Quebec, Canadian company, 100%, and you can buy soaps and moisturizers, hair care products from them. So look for the brand Oneka, Oneka, and they are from Quebec. So there's your straight goods on the Canadian goods for today, right there. Let's see. Yeah, try and catch up on some of the stuff that I didn't talk about yesterday that I wanted to. I'm going to try and remember what's going on with what's going on. Let's see. Nothing on Blue Skies. Let's go look at the Instagram stories. We start with Jonathan Mobo. He's working out, and he's got Mary's in his picture. So we see him working out in the Raptors warm-ups. And there's serious players only shoes. They look like nice shoes, Jonathan. I'll bet you your shoes are better than the Ball family shoes. Serious players only, y'all. Go buy them. Jonathan Mobo is the spokesperson for that company. Elijah Martin is celebrating Will Richard, Florida Gators, who's on the Warriors. And I think he made it through the cuts to be on the Warriors team. So that's good. AJ Lawson, of course, posting a picture of him with his face very stern, very calm, cool, collected. I'm sure the Raptors kept him in the loop, and he never really had a tragedy of getting waived. He just knew that was what was probably going to happen. Bobby probably told him, said, look, we're going to have to cut all 5 of you guys, and we'll just bring you back on All Rich's two-way. It'll happen in a day or so. Okay. Okay, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's probably what AJ Lawson did. But yeah, this is what AJ's saying. His words of wisdom today. Let's see what he's saying. The person you are meant to be requires letting go of the person you're not. I love that. That's so good. Be authentically, truly you. And don't let people project on you who you're supposed to be either. That's right. Slim Duck. What has he got going on his? He's showing all these tweets because they got Kevin Durant. I think he's on that starting 5 or something like that. Or something. They're showing like his tweets and him replying to every tweet. And like how he does, like what he does with the fans and different people. And I think Boucher respects Durant for being so vocal and going out there and fighting his fights in the Twitter sphere. It's so goofy, man. But yeah, there's a post about Chris Boucher shares his personal journey on World Mental Health Day. I like that. I don't know who that is. Oh, he's saying happy birthday to his nephew. I guess that's Terrence Mann. Is that Terrence Mann? Is it Terrence Mann's birthday? I don't know. He's saying happy birthday to his nephew. Let's see. I like this part. This is Chris is playing a part from Ace Ventura with Jim Carrey, and Sean Young is telling him that she wants to make his life miserable. I'm going to make you feel so much pain and all this stuff. And then Jim Carrey turns to her and says, "I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in a relationship right now." And he walks off, and Chris Shea thinks that's so fucking funny. I'm sure he has relates to this in his life right now with some of the women around him. He may relates to this. There may be somebody who's trying to hurt him. He's like, "Nah, I'm not about that. I'm Ace Ventura." That's right. That's right. So yeah, Chris is funny, man. Let's see what else we got. Jamal McGlure was at they. You know what they did? They put the Raptors championship team into the Ontario Hall of Fame, the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, and they had a ceremony recently. And Larry Tannenbaum was there with his wife and Nav Bhatia and Jamal McGlure and Dr. Alex McKechnie and a bunch of the other people that were associated with the Raptors championship year in 2019, our first championship year. And it's pretty cool. So yeah, they were representing, and the Raptors championship 2019 team is inducted into the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, guys, and rightfully so. And it's pretty cool to see all those luminaries come in and represent that era. Larry Tannenbaum's there. We see you, Larry. We love you, man. We love you, bro. But yeah, there's the contingency there. Let's see. What else do we got on here? Jamal McGlure's posting a clip from Google Pixel of the Raptors working out in Calgary, doing all the little steps and all the stuff, the cool things going on there. Very, very cool little clip. And Raptors official has it also on theirs. Let's see what else we got. Jared Rhoden did just get waived by the Raptors, but he's wishing a happy first birthday to his dog, I guess. And the dog is eating the cake. It's so cute. There's a little baby Neo on the cake. That's so cool, Jared. I wish you the best, Jared Rhoden. You're a badass. And in some ways, I know that, you know, the back and forth with the Raptors, getting waived by them every once in a while. Listen, if you don't mind it, man, we'll put you on extra reserve and you can come back and be up on the main roster at some point, I'm sure. So this thing, he's not trying to burn no bridge with the Raptors, because the Raptors is a bridge that he can cross many times. And I'll say this right now. We have the G League rights to Jared Rhoden. So if Jared Rhoden is suiting up for G League, he's in Raptors 905, just so y'all know. But we didn't have the rights to AJ Lawson. The Long Island Nets did. So this was necessary to retain AJ Lawson in the Raptors organization, was given the two-way to him. Because if we didn't, AJ's going back to Long Island and playing for the Nets G League team. We don't want to do that to him. Colin Castleton got a two-way sign for himself yesterday. So he is on a two-way with the Orlando Magic for this season. Former Raptor center Colin Castleton. There's DeMar DeRozan on the sideline looking fresh. I guess he didn't play in that game. I'm not totally sure. It's pretty cool. There's a graphic out that's showing that Dennis Schroeder is going to be playing with Russell Westbrook on the third team together. They played together in Oklahoma City very early on in their careers. And then they played together in LA for a little bit with the Lakers. And now they're together again on the Kings as of Westbrook getting signed. And boy, getting, you know, I feel bad because I told Kareem Thomas to drop Westbrook, and then somebody else went and scooped him up. Now they got him on their fantasy team. It's crazy. Jamal Shed has got pictures of him hanging out with friends after the game the other night. Looks like a nice crew there, Sheddy. Yeah, I don't know who those guys are. And they are back at the house too, hanging out. Let's see. Wubbs is putting on blast for who is that? Jacob Cole. Jacob Cole. I don't know. He's at McNeese State. Grady Dick's got a Topps card. Collect his card is what he's asking everybody. Go get Grady Dick's Topps basketball card and check it out. And Colin Murray Boyles has a write-up somebody put on of him, written up. Let's see what they said. Colin Murray Boyles at 6'7", 245 pounds. Colin Murray Boyles is an NBA defensive wrecking ball waiting to debut. Now, this next part that I read, think about Charles Barkley once again. With light feet, durable strength, and quick springs, Murray Boyles will devour unprepared matchups on the defensive end. He can guard in space, rotate in the back line, anchor pick and roll coverage, and dig down in the post. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more NBA-ready rookie defensively than CMB. Whether you watched his college, summer league, or preseason tapes, Colin Murray Boyles looks to possess extreme all defense upside in the near future. Wow, that's quite the write up. I guess Colin's tooting his own horn by posting it. There's SGA. And on the starting five show, he said, we're the better basketball team, and it's going to show. And damn, for sure did MVP and NBA champion Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's right. And let's see, Mamu's the last one. And who's he got there? What is that? It's some action over in Georgia. So he's watching the Georgia game over there. So there you go. That's the end of the Instagram stories for there. Yeah, interesting stuff going on. That Ontario Basketball Hall of Fame has welcomed the 2019 champion Raptors team into their hall. That's pretty cool, man. I like that. I like that. I like that. All right. I see there's more comments in the chat. I'll go ahead and get on these ones now. Let's see. Oh, there's Wayne. Cool. Good to see Wayne. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Nick Nurse has damaged a lot of potentially good players, namely Delano Banton, who is really struggling now. Pascal's growth was almost stunted too with that spinning in the key. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go against you on this. In some ways, I say that you're right to an extent. I mean, there's positives of Nick Nurse too. I don't want to just slag on him and beat him up. But also at the same time, he is the enemy and he is the coach of the Sixers. And until you retire or move away from that team, well, I will go extra hard against you there. So I'm just saying, Nick Nurse. In some ways, you could have gone and coached Phoenix or Milwaukee, but you decided to go to Philly, and that was shots fired. And that was the plan all along, Raptors Freaks. Understand that. Well, he could have gone to Phoenix. He might have been better off there with Kevin Durant. He could have gone and coached Giannis instead of Adrian Griffin. In fact, they were going to give him the job in Milwaukee, guys, but Nick didn't take it on purpose because he wanted to help Griff out so that he could get that job. And we saw how that worked out with Adrian Griffin. That was messed up, and that was not fair towards Coach Griff. I'm telling you right now, that was not fair. Neil saying this, with the loss of Fred VanVleet, the Rockets had to extend KD to kill any negative attitudes of the team. They're riding with KD. Well, that's fool's gold. Once again, you can't do that. That man has not been healthy completely. That man has not been at the level that he should be paid $45 million a year. That's an overpay. And in some ways, that's poor GMing. You're doing that just for perception reasons. That's one of the stupidest reasons to do anything. It's just for perception. Yeah, that's a really bad move. And, well, they're going to see in the next 2 years how stupid the signing of the extension today. I think that in some ways it's also they want to keep Kevin happy. Kevin may be demanding that. And that's why this happened. It's like, guys, you guys got to extend me right now. You got to extend me right now. I'm not totally happy right now. What? You want us to extend you? Yeah. You haven't even played. No, you guys got to do it. Do it now. Maybe Kevin on the download knows he's actually kind of hurt. He's just grifting now. Seriously, guys. If Kevin Durant does not play most of the season, he's a grifter. He's stealing money from the Rockets. Let's just put it that way. Stargate is here. Good morning, Stargate. Elijah Martin reminds me of Tony Delk. That's an interesting comparison. Tony Delk was a pretty strong guard. I always thought of Tony Delk as a very pure point guard, though. Like he wasn't as so shooting guard oriented. Elijah's really a 2, which is crazy. He's not showing signs that he's a true 1. And Tony Delk was a 1 for Kentucky, for sure. So, I mean, I guess I could see that just from a stature, kind of strong kind of standpoint. Seymour's here. Good to see Seymour checking in from Calgary. Calgary held a 1-versus-1 tournament in the middle of Chinook Mall. Entry fee was $25. I had to go to a tattoo convention, adults only. Okay, this is an interesting comment. It's kind of all over the place. He's giving us the happenings in his province over there in Calgary. So they had a 1-on-1 tournament in the middle of the mall. That's kind of cool. Did you go play in it? No, you were at the tattoo convention and it was adults only. All right, Trevor said this. Kevin Durant has oh yeah, we already went over that. Come on now. You're old. You're late news, man. Late news. Come on now. Let's see. The cue card's already been held up. Put it down. Let's see. Seymour saying the adult tattoo function was insane. A lot of topless women and more, but I should have went and won that tournament. Wait, adult tattoo function. Was it tattoos? Are you saying tattoo? That's interesting. Were they getting tattoos? I don't know what's going on there. It was just for bragging rights, not a real prize. Okay. You know what? Yeah, maybe you should have been in that tournament, but maybe you should have been at the tattoo place too. I don't know. You live your life. Take your path and don't regret the decision you make. It's just the path you're on. That's it. So you didn't go to the tournament, but I mean, you saw topless women. So I mean, where's your trade-off there? There's your trade-off. You didn't get bragging rights, but hey, it is what it is. Neil's saying Raptors should have 905 playing 4 games in Scotiabank Arena throughout the season. They do have them play there about that. I think they play at least, I know they play at least 2 games there, if not 3 or 4. I know they'll be there at least 2 school day games. So yeah, they'll be there. They play in Scotiabank Arena. I think this is accurate. And it could be up to 4 games. Seymour saying Brandon Ingram fan rocks 10 jerseys of all of his teams, including college and Team USA jerseys. Real one. So this guy's an Ingram super fan, and he's gone and gotten every single jersey that Ingram's ever worn. And now he's got a notorious BI3 and Raptors red. I love that. I love that. That is that's a real one. That is a real fan right there. I like that. So he's bringing it up. Well, all right. This is something we didn't get to it here. Like, let's make the most of this beautiful day. Might as well say the Blue Jays will play. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be a World Series chance for the Toronto Blue Jays? Well, hi, neighbor. Yes, the Blue Jays are going to resume their ALCS series against the Seattle Mariners today. I believe the game is around 8 o'clock or 6 or something like that. So Blue Jays, do not get illuminated. Win the game today, and then you get the chance for a Game 7 tomorrow, I'm guessing, that they'll play right away tomorrow here in Toronto also. So home field advantage. You got the assignment. You got to win 2 in a row. You did it against the Yankees in your series here. So go ahead and do it to the Mariners this time. Don't play with your food. Don't make some dumbass managerial decision, John Schneider, and do this right. And I want to say this also. Any Blue Jays fans who are coming at the people of the family of the Littles, you guys need to stop. Seriously, fans, y'all need to stop. And I feel like a lot of this energy is just immaturity and just dumbass people that are coming at people like Sue Danforth or the family of the the guy Little who pitched. It's not right. Some of it's criminal, y'all, that you're doing and harassing people on social media and saying some crazy shit. Y'all need to stop. Seriously, that wasn't Little's fault. That's John Schneider's fault. And also, I would say this. It's like, the betting is adding to this shit. The betting is adding to this shit. That people care more about what happens in games because they have money on the line. And I'm telling you, the sports betting is going to be the end of a whole bunch of shit because it's just not good. It's toxic, and it's a real cesspool of bullshit that could be coming because of the sports betting around sports at this point. And it's shown in baseball with people overreacting to the failure of a pitcher named Little and acting out their ass. Honestly, there's a research out saying that young people are being indoctrinated to having dopamine hits with sports betting, and they are addicted. They're utilizing addiction for a profit margin, and the profits they're making off sports betting, these companies, is insane. Billions and billions of dollars stolen from people that can't help themselves because they're addicts. And the fucked up thing about this era of sports betting is that the gambling can be done 24/7 from your own house and your couch on an app. And back in the day, degenerates had to get up off their ass and go down to a gambling site on like Woodbine or some shit and go sit down with a bunch of guys smoking. There's some old fat Italian guys. Hey, which horse do you want on the 4th? That's where you had to do all your gambling before. But the convenience of having it at your own house and people having no self-control because they're addicts to it, this is horrible. This is an epidemic, and in some ways they're going to cause social problems for the younger generation because they are hooked on this shit. This is just as bad as alcoholism. This is just as bad as being hooked on crack. So understand this, and especially if you're a parent and if you got young people coming up in your family, do not let them get in this hole of gambling and making it normalized and a part of who they like to be and what they're doing. This is absolutely immoral, what they've done with the sports gambling around sports in general. And it will come crashing down. It will come crashing down with the tragedy and some other crazy shit. And they'll probably be like, you know what? You just ruined it for everybody. Jonte came close with some of the shit he did. But once again, you think you can get away with this, Adam Silver, and other sports leagues. You're destroying the youngest generation right now. They have no chance at owning a house, and you're predatory with your fucking sports gambling ads and apps. It's fucked up, man. It's not right, is what I'm saying. Wow, I'm almost at 2 hours. I'm gonna have to finish up very soon. Let's see. Smooth saying Blue Jays graphic design team going very hard. Really cool stuff. I like the Blue Jay imagery that they've been doing, but it's AI. Once again, fuck AI. Fuck AI and its bullshit. Get a real graphic designer to make this shit instead of fucking AIing shit. Seriously, get a real artist to do it because it's bullshit, man. Anything that's AI, like if you guys are sending me links to Raptors content which has an AI picture of Scotty on it, fuck that. I don't want to see that shit. I hate the AI pictures. They say this is Scotty on AI. His eyes look all fucked up and bulgy. And it's like AI, you can tell when it's AI. And I'll tell you right now, people that are making content or doing things, if you use AI and what you're doing, I'm rejecting you. I'm not going with you. The Toronto Tempo tried to use AI early on in their marketing, and I'm like, fuck this. And a lot of people backlashed against it. And I've not seen the Toronto Tempo going heavy in AI anymore. Those are nice graphics. Sure, they're done well, but let's not get twisted. Those are AI graphics. And remember that. You get a real photographer to go out there and get these pictures of the bird, the Blue Jay, that'd be awesome. If you got an artist like Kenrick Chronic Art James to make the piece of art for it, that'd be great. But fucking doing AI and running it and all that water through this shit, like this AI shit is bullshit. They're going to start building these AI like databases. They're going to be so fucking using up our water. That's going to actually, like, what is more important? Making goofy ass, googly eyed Scotty Barnes pictures or fucking having clean water for everybody? Because the water is going to be going through to make the AI work. And we may have water shortages just because of stupid ass AI coming into our lives, whether we like it or not. There's a lot of people trying to build these complexes around North America to generate AI. And I think a lot of people should be like, fuck this. We don't want this bullshit in our community. And fuck this. We don't want it. There's been some successful pushback against some of these AI centers. The one in Memphis is absolutely reprehensible because it's destroying the community with pollution and using up all the water and driving up water costs too. Think about that. That may be an unhidden benefit, unhidden detriment, I should say, of AI is it drives up water bills. Seriously, let's put 2 and 2 together. This thing's going to take so much water. Don't we have water shortages in California? Don't we fucking need water as a basic right to life? Why the fuck would we take the most pure thing that's supposed to feed the naturalness of us as an organism and fucking make it into some sort of cockamamie, useless, made up bullshit that's called AI? I'm just saying we need to have a backlash against that shit and fight against it to a degree, because in some ways the powers that be are forcing it on us. And in some ways, the generations in the future may be like, why did y'all let them ensconce AI so heavily into our society? Why did y'all let them build all these fucking facilities all over North America to do this and do that? If this technology is not efficient, that you have to use so much fucking water to make it happen, maybe you shouldn't be doing it like that this way right now and going full scale on it. Maybe you should go and develop a little further until you can figure out how to run AI facilities without having to use so much natural resources. We can remember IBM's computers in the 50s and the 60s and how they took up a whole fucking room. Well, where are computers now? You can have what that shit was in a very small thing. So maybe we need to wait a little bit longer before we start going full ahead with AI and just implementing it all over the place until the technology catches up in a feasible way that is not degrading and destroying resources and natural environment. That seems like the smart thing to do instead of full on irresponsibly building infrastructure in a way that hopefully that technology will get better without needing to use all the water resources. Who knows? Either way, I don't even give a shit about having AI. About any of that kind of bullshit. What is it? It's frivolous shit. It's for lazy people. It's for people to cut people out of jobs. Where are the benefits of AI? That's what I'm asking y'all right now. Where are the benefits of AI right now? It looks like shit. And in some ways, I judge people who use it. Sorry, that's how I feel about it, Smooth. The graphics look nice, but don't get it twisted. It's still AI. That's right. Yeah, they're nice. They're nice, but it's still AI. I'm just saying. Let's see. All right, let me keep going in the chat and let's see where we at here. Wow, you guys filled it up a lot more, guys. I love to see you're extending the stream because there's way more in here. Nobody gave me a cutoff. Nobody gave me a cutoff. That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying, please win tonight, Blue Jays. Please win. Yes, we're definitely rooting for them to get the win today. Raptors Champs is saying Elijah Martin would be a threat if he works on his handles. Yeah. I just want to see him do some point guard stuff. He's got the same build as Damon Stoudemire, our original Roy, the first season of the Raptors. In fact, sometimes his mannerisms, the way he dribbles, reminds me of Damon Stoudemire. If he could be more of an assist guy and actually try and pivot to being more of a point guard, that would probably help him be in the NBA. But in some ways, he's not. He's a shooting guard in a point guard's body. And that's not going to work, man. So when you go to 905 this year, Elijah Martin, you better start playing point guard and you better figure it out quick. If you're not naturally a point guard, you're fucked. You're not going to be in the league. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be in the league. You better learn point guard. Seriously. Wayne's saying our imperative is to get our second championship in order to just not have Nick Nurse as the only championship coach. That's not the only one. There's all kinds of reasons to do it. All kinds of reasons. That may be something that's cool about it. Nick Nurse lucked out. That trophy has Dwayne Casey's fingers all over it. Darko's a real one. Yeah, Casey deserves a lot of credit. And I love seeing him comment on it on Open Gym season last year about how he felt about the Raptors winning. There's no hate. There's no anger. In some ways, he feels part of the celebration because he knows he was part of the project that got there. So, yeah, Casey's a mature, amazing guy. And I love that he could celebrate the Raptors championship even if it felt like we discarded him. So that's a good guy right there. I really love Dwayne Casey, and in some ways, he's an underrated coach for the Raptors. And a lot of people give Nick Nurse way more credit than they should, when they should give more credit to Casey, is what I'm saying. Seymour saying a Calgary Surge was part of the tournament. They had the Calgary Surge down there playing in that tournament. Wow, man, that might have been pretty good talent there. Then might have been pretty good talent. Neil saying 2 games is what I remember. We need more. 2 games for what? 2 games for what? Preseason? What are you talking about in 2 games? Oh, you mean for 905 playing there? Make sure you elaborate. No, they've had I've seen seasons where they've gone there like 3 or 4 times. It just depends on the scheduling. And often those games that are at Scotiabank Arena for the 905 are 11 o'clock games. And they're bringing school buses of kids down there. And it's usually around Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually around Christmas. I don't know. In some ways, this is not really a big deal, Neil. Whether the 905 play in the Scotiabank Arena 3 or 4 or 2 times, who cares? They get a chance to go down there and play there at least once a year. At least 2 times is not enough. Well, that's the you. I don't know how much is enough. In some ways, it may be a pain in the ass to do games there for MLSE to a degree. So I would say that. I mean, this is not something to quibble about. Come on now. Reggie's saying Little should not have been put in that position. Yes. And that's why the backlash against Little is casual. It's very casual. I don't even watch the Blue Jays, and I know that it's a casual response to come after that pitcher who was put in that predicament. That's right. The manager's logic made no sense. It was the most boneheaded pitching decision in Blue Jays history. I just pray the Jays can overcome it. Yeah, players are going to make mistakes. Managers will too. And, well, you got to own this one, John Schneider. You got to own this one. I'm sure he's not deflecting. I don't know. I haven't paid attention. I don't know what he's saying. Trevor's saying Kendrick Perkins believes the Raptors is the big beast in the East. I love it. There you go. Kendrick Perkins. That's right. He sees with his eyes wide open, and he's not trying to look through the lens of ESPN downgrading us. No, Kendrick Perkins, you're a real one when you come to your Raptors opinions. You have been for years. I appreciate you for that. You're one of the few that gives us a fair shake. Seymour saying, Lex, no bias. Who's better, Elijah Martin or Scoot Henderson? I don't know. I think that Scoot Henderson is the better player right now. He's the higher prospect, right? He's a high draft pick. Elijah Martin's a second-round pick. Right now, at this present time, I haven't seen Scoot recently. He's been hurt a lot and just kind of weird shit with him. So I have no idea where he's at with his game, whether he's progressed or not. So I can't say. I would say that Scoot's probably better than Elijah right now. I mean, if that's what you're talking about right now, I don't know what's going to happen down the road. Let's see. Raptors champs saying, fuck AI. I agree. I mean, it just seems like a big mistake. And do we have any options on this? It's kind of like these user agreements on apps and like things. It's like iTunes. You want to use iTunes, you have to sign the Apple user agreement. And there's probably all kinds of crazy convoluted shit in there that you're signing that you don't even realize. That's the thing. Who's signing the agreement to fucking go on the AI tip? Who's doing that? They're just making the decisions at the top without anybody's regards. This is why Trump has said there's no regulation on AI, is because he doesn't care if we're protected as a society from the possible negative effects of AI. That's irresponsible as a leader. That's irresponsible. And we need to hear more about what politicians' stances are on AI and how they want to go about implementing or doing things with it, because that may be a hot button topic in the near future politically. And there may be very much people that are like pro AI and people that are anti AI like us. And you may want to vote for certain people because of their stance on AI. So let's pay attention to this. In some ways, it may be inevitable. It's going to come at some form in some way, no matter what, and it may be forced on us in the very near future. But also at the same time, is there freedom? Is there an opt out? Are we allowed? Do we just turn off our computers and just not live in a digital world anymore? And we go back to being like, this is real life. Not doing this fake shit online anymore. They're making videos of people that are fake. They're doing all this fake shit on here. I'm backing out. We'll have to see. The world is changing, and AI is a big, huge change. It's a big, huge change like the automobile. It's a big, huge change like the internet. It's a big, huge change like a plane, stuff like that. Vaccines, some of the biggest inventions in the world ever. They have repercussions and they do change things. And artificial intelligence will have that kind of ramification, maybe even on a huger scale than other stuff. You can look at TV and how it changed the world. TV changed things. The internet changed things. Well, AI is another whole step. And if they're not going to do things with it responsibly, I don't want to have anything to do with it, is what I'm saying myself personally. Wayne's saying any person with sense knows it goes against the grain of a good team to lose 3 straight at home. They will get one, whether deserving the win or not. Toxic fans are always fools. Who are you talking about? Any person with sense knows it goes against the grain of a good team to lose 3 straight at home. Oh, you're talking about the Blue Jays in Seattle just now? Yeah, I mean, we did good work there. We got 2 out of 3 and stayed alive. And I think Seymour's right. I mean, it'd be bad if the Mariners had lost 3 straight in Seattle. So in some way, I think I see that was what he's saying. Salute to the Sergeant, Sergeant Wayne. Yeah, we can do that. Let's give Wayne Strainer a dunk here. Dunk charts. Where are we? He's alphabetical, so he's down near the bottom. There's Sergeant Wayne. You're at 105, my guy. 105 for Sergeant Wayne. Another 3 points on the dunk charts. There you go. There you go. All right. Stargate saying this. Timberland just released a video of his new AI artist. Shaking my head. That's scary. See, that's what I'm saying. They've got an actress that came out recently, and people are like freaking out. It's like she's not a real person. They're using her in roles. That's the sign of things that come. All these creative jobs are going out the wazoo. And it's not just artists. It's not just writers. It could actually be performers. And it's crazy. Do you want this artificial shit? Is there any soul or substance to it? In some ways, the backlash that may be happening and coming up is, fuck AI. I want some people that are authentic. I don't care if they're not perfect. I want to see the warts and the lumps and the things that aren't exactly right, because this is what human is. It's not perfect and fully clean, just like AI is. And in some ways, people will reject it. And there may be a strong embrace and a strong movement to support authentic artists that are real and not AI, because people do not want this new world coming with AI artists musically and acting and stuff like that. I'm in a good spot. I'm as authentic as you could fucking get. And in some ways, if it is turned towards more authenticity in a world that's ever changing towards fake, people like me may very well do well, because they're rejecting that bullshit. That's right. I like what C. Haji said here. He's saying EI over AI. And that's inevitable right there, is that, universal basic income is a concept that is utilized in a lot of different places. Whole entire countries have done UBI. It's different cities in North America have experimented with it already. And there's a lot of success in it. Basically, like as a sociologist, somebody who has a background in this and graduate studies, I understand that the real problems with crime and social problems in society are monetary. They have to do with people being in bad places financially, making bad decisions. Whether, you have people that actually have food on the table and they don't have to go out and get rich, die trying, like 50 Cent. They're not going to be doing crazy shit because they have what they need. Some people will be greedy and they'll take advantage of things and do stuff. But yeah, they should be punished and go to jail as criminals. But there should be a basic safety net. And I'm a big proponent for a floor of income for everybody. Because if we have people off the streets, there's no homelessness. We have people fed and to an extent where they can take care of themselves, just the basic level, there's less crime. This is all true. More jails and more police do not solve crimes. Supporting people financially so that they can have a life where they don't have to turn to crime actually saves crime. It's proven everywhere, all around the world. And in some ways, the United States knows this, but they like their system of for-profit prisons. So we need a basic floor of universal income for everybody so that you have a house over your head. There's no homeless. You have food on your table and you can have heat on your house. And then boom, everything else you want, you got to go get yourself. I'm not trying to be a communist totally, but I think that we're a civilized society at this point in humankind. We should be able to do this at this point with the resources we have. And it wouldn't really take a huge chunk of those fucking grifting, blood-sucking parasites at the top called the billionaire oligarchs. We could take a percentage of what they've got, and this would fix this, and we could do this. It's not like we're coming to take middle-class people's money to help everybody overall. No, we take it from the top where it was stolen from us in the first place, and we redistribute it along everybody at the bottom, so everybody is taking problems go away. There's no more homeless people in the park. There's less crime. We have to spend less on police because we don't need them as much. That's a successful society, becoming more civilized and working towards the right things. But people are racist and they don't want any money going to people of color. And they say, fuck them. I don't want her getting money. You know, it's really fucked up. It really is racism and fucking horrible people that want to see people that aren't like them suffer, that are in charge. And that's why this shit happens. So we get in the streets like we did yesterday. We show the muscle of the people. We can make shit happen. It's just that we have to be organized, not divided, and we can come and get what's right in this society. We need bold leaders that can enunciate and say this shit clearly so everybody can understand it. And we can do this. We can do this. And once again, the other side of it is there's a ceiling. There's a floor income. Everybody's taken care of. You can put a bunch of tiny houses somewhere, Mark Carney, and make sure nobody's sleeping in a park and just make sure everybody has a basic income. And you know what? Give them food stamps so they're not spending it on bullshit like betting on sports and stuff like that. Give them shit that's programmed so they are actually spending the money on food for sustenance. And if they have addiction problems, you get them into programs so they can help themselves get better. There's all kinds of ways to do this. It's just that some people do not believe in a social safety net and they just want to fucking use us all as parasitically, and they're going to fucking suck the blood out of us. Every single amount of money that's made over a certain amount of money is taken back and put back into society and helping to fund this. Because the billionaires, you don't need all that money. You never spend half that shit. So let's tax your ass properly and get the money back into the system for society is what I'm saying right there. Yeah, good to see you, C. Haji. And there's an espousing on that further there. Yeah, Reggie's saying the graphics are AI. How can you tell? I can just tell, bro. I can tell. You can tell what AI is. It's too clean. It's part of the reason why you like it so much because it's too clean. You can do a lot of crazy shit with AI right now. It is too clean. If that was a real artist that did that, I apologize. But you're really damn good because you fooled me. No, those Blue Jays pictures are AI pictures. I think they're fine. I'm not going to rain on your parade. I think they're great. But also realize that's part of it. Realize that's part of it. Let's see. Wayne's saying, you asked, so I will answer. The benefit of AI is to go worldwide and steal resources, and they have their eyes on Gaza. Musk and Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel have plans even before October 7th. Yeah, there's a lot of false flag shit. You know, I still believe that attack on the Israeli people was allowed. It's similar to 9/11, and it was just a reasoning for, you know, going and annihilating people. And, you know, that attack on that music festival was awful, is dreadful. I'm glad the hostages are free. It's an absolute fucked up thing that happened. But in some ways, I would turn around and tell the Israeli people, you should blame Netanyahu because he left that door open for them to come in on purpose so that he would have an excuse to annihilate the people of Palestine. And, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to read between the lines and understand that. Some people say, oh my gosh, that's reprehensible what you just said, Lex. There was rape and murder and so much horrible things that happened at that music festival. Yeah, blame your leader. He didn't you guys have all the money in the world. You have all the money in the world and all the defense in the world. How the fuck do you have a lapse like that? And I would say the same damn thing to the United States with 9/11. Seriously, they wanted that shit to happen, so they had an excuse to go into Afghanistan or Iraq. They wanted that excuse to go into Gaza. And that you can put 1 and 1 equals 2 and figure that out for yourself. The logic is there. That horrible thing that happened, sure, Hamas did it. And they were fucking wrong for that. And they're absolute barbaric pieces of shit. And if they are going to fucking go after Gaza people right now, they deserve to get crushed. I'll say that right now. But still, don't be stupid. Understand Netanyahu left the back door open and allowed them to come in like that. You don't think he has all the sensors and everything to understand everything is fucking going on all the time? Yeah, he does. And also, why the fuck would y'all have a music rave right next to a concentration camp full of Palestinians just on the other side of the fence? In some ways, that's immoral and gross. They have a bunch of young people celebrating and partying next to people suffering in cages just a football field away. Yeah. I mean, we could see all sides of this if we're not completely biased for either one. And you could say, oh, you're biased for Hamas. No, fuck Hamas. Fuck ISIS. Fuck the Taliban. Fuck Al Qaeda. I can be against terrorists, but also against genocide also. Yeah, that's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Boom, boom. Never. That's right. That's what they say. Let's see. Seymour's saying this. Salt, which is southern Alberta, is now all in on AI. The oil taps have been closed for years now. So now it's all about AI here. Northern Alberta is still trying to suck the pipe. They're trying to still build this pipeline, but there is a little bit of pushback by the government in BC and the Indigenous warriors, which I completely stand with. There's a great ruling on a couple people that got arrested fighting the pipeline, Indigenous people, and it was great, fantastic. Really happy they were released. And the land guardians are the best people for understanding what our land needs, because they are the people that are derived from the people that were originally here. And in some ways, I applaud and I support all land guardians, Indigenous land guardians across this continent that are fighting against certain forces and standing up for the environment. I stand with them no matter what. And I stand with unions also, no matter what. That's right. Fiercely saying, was watching a documentary yesterday of fake AI ads with Carney encouraging citizens to invest in bogus initiatives. Also, Facebook leaks ads of crypto investments for which people have lost. There's just a lot of grifts out there. We live in a world of grifting. Whether it's grifting you at Walmart to buy extra frivolous plastic shit you don't need, just to buy something impulse buy, whether it's grifting Donald Trump, grifting cryptocurrency bullshit right now and grifting that way. There's a lot of grifting going on. So I would say the best way to protect yourself is go a little more anti-consumer. Go and get your needs, not necessarily all your wants. And don't buy into being overly consumer. This is going into a season where it's the holidays. And there's so much wasted bullshit that we buy just because of holidays like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And they all derive extra bullshit for landfills. And it's shit that y'all spend money on that you don't really need to spend the money on, but they tell you to, because it's just part of tradition. I'll tell you all this. Find a way to cut your costs on the holidays. And you know what? Make a gift for a friend on Christmas. Maybe you don't need to go buy a Halloween costume this year. Maybe you can make your own Halloween costume for what you already got. In some ways, we need to be a little bit more green, sustainable, and stop being such fucking consumers of buying disposable shit that's just going to go in a landfill. So I say this. You can change the world on a micro level with your own decisions. Myself, I have opted out consumer-wise so many different ways in the last 10 years. I have stopped being a consumer just for the sake of being a consumer, because that's what they want us to do. Go to Walmart every other day, Lex, and just buy useless shit that you don't need. No, I'm not doing that shit anymore. And for part of it, I have more money because of that. I'm more smart about planning what I'm going to buy. But sure, there's going to be grifts out there like cryptocurrency and sports betting that's going to drain people's pockets in certain insidious ways. I'm just saying the anti-consumer movement is getting stronger, and it's people that homestead, it's people that grow their own food, it's people that barter with each other, it's people that go to farmers markets and buy local. This is the stuff you do. You don't buy corporate, you damn for sure don't buy American, and you do the way you do it, and you can find all kinds of new ways of doing things. And in some ways we may need to do this more and more as the time goes on, just to show our disdain for how things are changing. So be aware of consumerism and be aware of how it's forced on us. And also, like Fiercey said, she saw an ad that was AI generated that put the words in the mouth of our prime minister. How the fuck can you trust anything out there? And they're going to use him to say crazy ass shit. And it's totally fucking fake. And you know, trust me, we need to understand what is real and what is not in this new world coming. Seriously, we really do. We really, really do. Seymour saying, what pop? Eye candy. Hope you have a blessed weekend. There you go. There you go. Cool Cat saying, consumers need to understand their power and don't view, listen, purchase AI content. Demand humans over AI. Exactly. Look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. It's a great example of the power of the masses. Yesterday scared the shit out of MAGA. Absolutely scared the shit out of them. There's no paid actors. There's no bullshit like this. Everybody was out there on their own, and they came out there in full effect. You can try and make it seem like they fucking paid for that or they're doctored pictures. No, we can see the truth. There was enough footage of everything and enough streets and freeways full of tens of hundreds of thousands of people that you can't fake that shit. And it was here too. There were people here in Canada getting the streets in support. There were people across Europe, people in Australia, people all around the world protesting on No King's Day yesterday. And they're going to do it again. And they will keep doing this shit. And, you know, honestly, they got to understand they are not in charge. The people are in charge, and you can try and be tyrannical and a dictator. You're going to fucking find out how that works in the long run. Adolf Trump. You're going to find out how that works in the long run. I'm telling you right now. That's right. And Cool Cat's exactly right. Reject, don't support, reject what you do not agree with going in the future. And if AI is involved in it, reject it. And I'm totally with Cool Cat on that. Yeah. Seymour saying, I'm still cash society. I hardly use my cards because scams. AI is crazy right now. Yeah. Yeah. I won't get tap on my card. Maybe it's a stupid reason. It's like I'm just worried about scammers coming up next to me and getting my card because it's got tap activated. So I've never activated a tap on my card. Oh, I need this convenience of just tapping the card for a split second. Fuck that. I'll just put it in. Is this really a big deal to fucking just put the card in? Or are you trying to make us that lazy in all kinds of ways? Oh, just tap it. Nah, see, there's different ways we can be different and have where our levels of what we want to do as far as allowing AI or any of this kind of shit into our lives. Reject it. Yeah, that'll send a message, just like we did to the Toronto Tempo, who put out some AI images early on this year. And everybody's like, what is this AI bullshit? We don't want this. Yeah. Yeah. I say it like, if you have a YouTube content creator and you're using AI out the wazoo right now, what the fuck are you doing? Seriously. Seriously. Fiercely saying it, Seymour. Yes, I am. Not as exciting as yours. Good. Glad you guys are having a good weekend. Trevor J saying Chicago mayor calls for a general strike yesterday. He's also called for Trump to be impeached. And I really appreciate, well, that's the governor, I think, that said that. But yeah, Illinois, Chicago. I mean, I could see a scenario where the United States is divided up and we see red and blue states and there's two different nations coming. I can see a scenario where this gets to that. Just because there is some really stupid people that really want to go with Trump's world. And well, maybe it will be the Southern United States and their stupid ass fucking inbred shit. And all the smart parts of the country, the parts that derive money and make economics happen, may be on the other side. And then I could see the stupid side, the MAGA side, trying to be aggressive and being like a really warlike little dumbass nation where we may have problems here. And also the blue states will have problems with fucking idiots. But in we got to remember this, the smart people are on the side that's against MAGA. The dumb people are on MAGA's side. So we should kick their ass easily just from intelligence. I mean, diversity will beat them too, but intelligence will beat them also. because they are some of the stupidest people in the world. Honestly, anybody who's riding with Donald Trump at this point, this far in, you are dumb as fuck. Let's just put it that way. And you're probably going to be easy to fool when we get involved in any kind of bullshit with y'all. If y'all do try and bow up at us and come at us, you're going to find out real quick that intelligence will beat big dummy brawn. That it's like, oh, we got this, we got that. You only going to be do this. I was like, well, motherfucker, you won't even know what's going on because you're so damn stupid. And you'll find out real quick. real quick. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Mr. Miyagi's here. Us citizens were the actual targets. We've been bleeding our rights away since. It sucks. It sucks. This is a big, huge fight for the next generation is our rights, whether it's our rights digitally, whether it's our rights in our society. And, there's a TED Talk out right now that, our data privatization, our data being private is absolutely essential for democracy. What is the president going on about right now? Punishing his opponents, punishing his enemies, punishing those who went against him, like John Bolton and Comey. He will utilize Planeteer and all kinds of data mining things to find out things about us and use it against us. And that is the most totalitarian shit ever to do that kind of stuff. Because in some ways, it's like, look, if they can find out all about you that way, that's not right. So the privatization of data in general is still extremely important for freedom and democracy. And we can't poo-poo this. I'm not talking about this lightly. This could be very serious shit. If the wrong people are in charge and they want to weaponize having data on everybody, they could go and make up shit on anybody and say, we're arresting you and we're taking you to jail. So this is a big deal. And Mr. Miyagi's right. Our rights are under fire on the download, partly with the changes with data, and privatization of data is so essential for democracy, guys. We have to keep it the way it is already. And some people want to have an open look on everything. And some of them will say things, oh, it's because of terrorism. We need to absolutely be able to see everything and tap phones and do this. No, fuck that. There should be privacy rights for citizens. And that's a part of democracy and freedom. That's right. Trevor J., thank you for the cutoff. Oh my gosh, I needed that. All right, I'm going to get done in the next 4 minutes. Fiercely Sam, I just asked my daughter, hang on. I just asked my daughter, it's called deep fake. We need to watch out for these fake ass. Yeah, for sure. Deep fakes are a big problem right now. Wayne's saying, simple rule of the internet. If it's easy money, simple answer to complex things, fake, fake, fake. Anything against nature and natural law. Yep, Raptors Reddit reactions. Let's see what they're talking about there real quick. And I want to speed through here. No more comments. Seriously, guys. They're talking about how RJ's playing very well in our system. Somebody on Reddit said the exact same thing that I said yesterday, that RJ's doing what he's asked to do. Get better on defense. Get better with your free throws. And you know what? Be more efficient with your shots. And, well, he's getting the assignment. He's doing it. And this guy on Reddit saying the same thing as me. If he does exactly what we ask him to, he should be here long term, right? That's what I'm saying, Bobby. That's what I'm saying right there. They're celebrating AJ Lawson coming back on the two-way, and they're going over IQ's new celebration, the Call Me Maybe. Yeah, there's these guys on this Game Theory podcast are saying the Raptors will make the playoffs and have an elite defense this year. I think people are starting to get it right. Happy birthday to Jim Thomas, former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors. He was assistant coach for us way back in 1996, 99. He is currently an assistant coach for the Atlanta Hawks. So we'll see Jim Thomas, who's 65 today, on Wednesday when we go to Atlanta to play the Hawks. He'll be on the bench with Quinn Snyder. So, yeah, happy birthday to former assistant coach. See, we do it this deep on the Raptor Freak channel. Jim Thomas. That's right. Let's go. All right, let's do these Instagram. Nope, not the Instagram. We got to do the classic card, guys. Let me get the card. We're going to do 2. Please be fast. I want to get these done before 2:30 hits on my time. I'm going to grab both of them right now. And I'll put them up in a row because we did not have a card yesterday. I got cut off. So we got to do it this way. All right, here's the first classic card of the day. All right, here it is. Please get this answer quickly if you can. Full name answer, please. This is a classic player. This is not a current player. This is not a recent player. This is a player that's probably circa 90s, late 80s, 90s. So if you can get this card, that'd be great. In some ways, his last name has to do with cat food. In some ways, that's what I say. His last name has to do with cat food. And, well, he was a New Jersey net, not a Brooklyn net. So if you can figure out, if you know your Swamp Dragons lore, maybe you can understand who this is. New Jersey Swamp Dragon, number 34, late 80s, early 90s. Where's my guy Slug Deezy? He will know who this is. Let's see. He has the same first name as let's see, who's a good person to say this on? As a guy who was just on our team is not on our team anymore, which is sad. It's too bad. But yeah, he has the same first name as a player who was on our team last year, but not this year. And he has the last name that has to do with cat food. So if you know this one, you can get it. Man, if y'all don't get it, all right. You know what? I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to put two up at the same time. So here's the other card. So yeah, look at that one and look at this one. Who do you want? We're going to do two cards at once. It's a double barrel classic card of the day. If you can get these cards, let me know. Write them in. Nobody's writing in anything. Come on now. I got to get out of here. Adriana's here, and I need to get out of here. So I don't want to go past 2.5. Kelly Oubre is not right. That is not Kelly Oubre. This guy's on Milwaukee. This guy's on Milwaukee right now. And this guy is long retired. And his first name is the same as a player we had on our team last year, who's not on our team this year. And his last name has to do with cat food. So yeah, let's see. Let's see if y'all can get these. This guy's on Milwaukee. This guy has the same first name as a guy who's on the Celtics now. And that should tell you right there. It's really easy to figure out his first name from that. So yeah, come on, y'all. We're done. We didn't get it. No, Kelly Oubre is not right. And this guy I should think you should get. This guy right here, you guys should get. He's on the Milwaukee Bucks right now. He's one of the reasons why I think they're going to be bad. Yeah. Oh, man, you know what? I really don't want to waste any more time. If nobody's actually going to try and guess on these cards, I'm going to get out of here. Chris Young, it's not Chris Young. Think about the last name. It has to do with cat food and his last name. If people know their NBA and their New Jersey Nets named Chris, they should know this player. But I guess we don't have any old heads here. We're Smooth. Smooth, you should know who this is. Come on, Reggie. You know who this is. New Jersey Nets, Chris who? And this guy, come on now. This guy was a knucklehead on the Rockets. Now he's on the Milwaukee Bucks, guys. That's easy. That's easy. I think he was also on the Clippers for a little while, and he's also on the Cavs here. But yeah, he's a reason why I think the Bucks are going to be bad this year because they're dependent on this guy to be one of their main guys. And this guy is absolutely a lost cause in the NBA. So yeah, you guys aren't trying. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to say we're out because I can't do this, guys. If you're not going to guess, you're not guessing. Nobody's writing anything in. We're not going to do it. All right, come on now. Last chance. Last chance. Seriously. I was supposed to be done half an hour ago. Last chance. Nobody knows it? Chris who? Chris what? Chris what? I guess you just don't know your New Jersey Nets history, cool cat. And this guy should be easy. Like I said, this guy's still playing. This guy's on a roster right now with Milwaukee. And nobody can recognize this dude? You don't recognize this guy from hanging out with Jalen Green and Jayshawn Tate and everybody down in Houston? Oh, my God. My PhD knowing people, Slugged Easy, Smooth Brown Man. Where are these guys? These guys know the classic card. I guess neither one of them are here right now. All right, we're done. We're done. Kevin Porter Jr., thank you. Thank you, Giannis Sky. Thank you. Yes, this is Kevin Porter Jr., yes, thank you. Jeez. Oh my gosh. That was like pulling teeth, y'all. Seriously, man. All right. Kevin Porter Jr. The other one is like a Chris guy who played for the Nets. Nobody knows this guy? Man, I guess we don't have any deep cut old school NBA fans in here right now. So yeah, Giannis Sky, you're getting on the charts for the first time, man. That's pretty cool. I'm going to give you 100 points for the Kevin Porter Jr. Nobody's going to know who this guy is. Nobody knows who this guy is? I guess not. Michael Jordan knew who this guy was. He had to play against him. This guy tried to card Michael Jordan. Chris, Scotty's friend? No. Chris Boucher? What? Chris, Scotty's friend? What does that mean? Chris Fish. That's an interesting guess, Isaac. No, remember cat food? There was a certain cat who liked cat food. That'll give you the answer right there. There was a certain cat who liked the cat food. And that's the name of this guy's last name. That's right. Chris. Man, I don't even know why I'm allowing y'all this extra time. Chris Garfield. Garfield liked lasagna. No, this cat liked cat food. And he was in commercials. He's a cat food commercial cat. And he was a real cat. He wasn't an animation. He would be in the commercial and he'd come and run and get the food. And he'd talk too. Like he'd be in the commercials, like, you got it again. Something like that. Chris Perina. That's an interesting one. Chris Crawford? No. No. All right, I'm gonna call it on this one. Guys, it's Chris Morris. If you guys know Morris the cat, he used to be in commercials and he used to come and eat the food, like Purina or something. It was Purina. It's like, oh, Morris the cat for Purina cat food coming out there. Chris Morris, y'all. Y'all brush up. Seriously, this guy was a starter. It's not like he was an unknown player. Brush up on your shit. Come on now. Come on now. We Raptor freaks, we've got to have our standards. And nobody knew Chris Morris today. That's too bad. That's too bad. All right. Nobody. All right there, Mel Lastman. Nobody. All right. That's it. I'm out. I'm out, guys. Yeah. Once again, my 15 for the Eastern Conference, my predictions are this. Number 1, New York, but they'll fail in the playoffs. Cleveland, down at 2. They're going to have less wins than last year. Number 3, or Toronto. I think we're going to be the 3rd best team in the East. Orlando, 4th. But there's some wiggle play between Toronto, Orlando, Atlanta, and Detroit. Atlanta at 5, Detroit at 6. The play-in teams I see are Miami, Indiana, Chicago, and Milwaukee. And there's some play between these two. And then the bottom 5 that won't make the playoffs this year: Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. That's my predictions for the East. Yep, there you go, y'all. And if you want my reasoning for why I put Boston so low, go back to the beginning of the stream. Watch it at 1.5 speed. It'll go by faster. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. We'll do a Monday memory / Monday moment tomorrow, and then we'll have Raptor Freak Trivia on Tuesday, and then we're getting right in the season with Atlanta Hawks. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Let's go, Blue Jays. You got to win today. It's do or die time, and you're at home, so make the home field crowd very, very happy. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Cool Cat. Thank you, everybody, for playing today. I am out. Let's go, Blue Jays.